26, 2026, and this is the City Council work session. Calling to order, and now please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Frank Bankert.
Present.
Councilmember Kimberly Shaw Elliott.
Present.
Councilmember Todd Harper. Councilmember Jody Shirley.
Here.
Councilmember Anders Wellings.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lloyd Roberts.
Here.
Mayor Dave Gaddis.
Here.
City Manager Kyle Riefler.
Here.
City Attorney Tom Trask.
Here. All right, we are here tonight with one discussion item. This is a comprehensive code review across selected chapters. Just a little comment about this. We're going to be making decisions that impact the entire city. Whenever your friends and neighbors complain about whatever happens, remind them that they weren't here. So that being said, I will turn it over to City Manager Riefler.
She's here.
She'll be my way.
So I can't see because it's
A
screen.
lot of weight on her shoulders. Yeah.
Okay, so I tried to make this screen as big as possible so we could all look at the same screen as opposed to our independent papers. Hopefully it works out okay. But we're going to start at chapter 10. And these are all the chapters that originally we went through with Planner Cerna, and then following the recommendations we briefly covered, we took it to the Planning and Zoning Board, and that was pretty much all last year for about 9 meetings. They met. Most of the meetings were a little over an hour, but we covered all these chapters, and they actually added some additional things that they thought was important that I'll bring up. So I laid this out in Word and tried to print it so that you could see the comments to make it a little easier to follow. Let's go back up a little bit. So I remember this coming up at 10.2, and we're on page 208. I'm trying to see if there's a better way. If you can follow along, I just want to make sure I can say the page numbers, or we can all share the screen.
And you're going by that page number?
No, the page number in
So this would be,
PDF? And
Yeah.
in the large PDF? Okay.
so this is 2 of 208, but I think it's going to be best if we just kind of look at the screen and try to flip around.
Okay.
So, yes.
Just a quick question, did planning and zoning already know about our comments and our recommendations prior to them meeting? Or were they first, just from a timing standpoint?
I presented the same way that Planner Cerna and I presented it to you guys.
Okay.
So we did indicate some of the preliminary, like the setbacks, like for the docks, things like that we previously discussed. I took those measurements to the board,
Okay.
and then they gave me their comments
Right.
to bring back for recommendations. So if you recall, it was a conversation when we originally talked, the council looked at this, and when we discussed moving the time for starting work hours. And I brought, moving from 7 to 8, so it'll be a little bit later, so they wouldn't be able to start till 8 a.m. I brought this to the Planning and Zoning, but the Planning and Zoning recommended that they're okay with the 8 a.m. for construction, but they think that landscapers should be at 7 as well.
Did they have a reason why, a justification? What were their thoughts?
I think with mowing, they just felt like the landscapers are out there earlier. And
My only take on it would be that I would assume that anytime we're making these changes, it has to do with noise, right? The contractor's working or the lawn maintenance people working. In my opinion, with the exception of maybe a few pieces of equipment that a contractor may be using, the lawn maintenance is the loudest. I mean, if I'm sleeping Saturday morning, which is rare, but in those events, and I hear those mowers start up at 7 a.m., it's loud, I can hear it, and I wake up. Just my take on it. I mean, if we're really trying to create a scenario where the residents are not hearing loud noises at 7 in the morning, I would almost flip it and say the contractors at 7 and the lawn maintenance at 8. I think we're better off going everything at 8, in my opinion. If we're really trying to reduce the noise for our citizens.
My view is that whenever we deal with an ordinance, we want something that can be easily implemented as well as easily communicated. And I think when we have two different standards or two different types of operations, I think that's confusing to the public and harder for our administrator to deal with. So I would suggest one time, and I believe we previously had some conversation about making it earlier in the day simply because of health and safety, because a roofer, doesn't need to be on that roof in the summertime at 3 o'clock in the afternoon necessarily. So that the earlier that they can start, the better that they can take care of themselves.
All these guys will roof until dark, if they're allowed. Doesn't really matter what time they start.
Yeah. But I mean, whoever it is,
You're hearing that nail gun at 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's why I asked the question initially. Are we trying to be sensitive to the noise to the citizens? If that's not a big deal, then yeah, 7 makes sense.
The other thing is, if she's talking about like uniformity, which I 100% agree. Why are we just classifying New Year's, Christmas, and Memorial Day as holidays? Our code officer just recently got jammed up on Veterans Day. Can't we just say all federal holidays?
that's good.
Yeah.
I think so.
What is our goal today?
Our goal-
Because if we're trying to make decisions on this, we need to stay focused until we make decisions.
That's right.
So
I would,
What's our goal?
oh yeah, the goal is to get through these recommendations. If we see something that obviously we all have the freedom to speak up and say we don't or do like something, but what Frank raises is maybe a valid concern to Frank. It's not one of mine, but my opinion on the hours are, I think it should be standardized, and I would be perfectly fine with 8 a.m. because I don't think anyone should be beating on roofs at 7 a.m. and I don't think they should have leaf blowers blowing at 7 a.m. I think everybody, the neighborhood needs to be quiet until, I think 8's very reasonable. That's my opinion. Going back to you, Councilmember Shirley, the goal is to go through all of these recommendations and have an honest discussion, try to bang through them as quickly as we can and reach a consensus with the group.
So will we be looking at items that have not been brought to us? And the reason, because if we're going to start then reading on to other areas that we're not, they're not part of our hit list.
There's a large list.
There is.
So if we see some, my recommendation would be to bang through this list, and then if there's something at the end that wasn't covered that you feel strongly about, then let's bring it up.
And since I have the floor just for a minute, I'm in support of keeping it at 7. I just think that, construction contractors, they leave their house at 5 a.m. to get to the job site and get started. And it's, as you know, not many live out here at the beach, so they need to get started.
Yes.
Yeah, I favor also keeping it at 7, mostly because, I see the workers out there. I mean, you're already kind of an expensive area to build when you get over here, and so I feel like we're further restricting our contractors. I guess I'm just trying to balance the expenses of contractors trying to get their job done and finish on time. We're getting tighter on other things in the other documents too. We're clamping down on the time it takes to finish jobs, the time when it has to start. Like just putting many more constrictions on, contractors. I feel like we're somewhat of a business-friendly area as well. So I just think it's a good balance. I think honestly, we're also a bunch. What's the average age? 58. Bet you everybody's up by 6 or 7 around here anyway. So I don't think it's a big difference between 7 and 8. I'd rather balance a little more balance.
Okay, so we're saying 7 o'clock for
keep it the same as 7, right?
Lawn guys,
Everybody,
Everybody.
just keep it
Everybody,
at the
7
original
o'clock.
7 o'clock. I'm trying to remember what the original pushback was. I guess other than a few residents complaining about noise.
so
or-
who made the recommendation? How did it get on here?
If I recall, it was brought up from a resident and originally brought up, just brought to my attention, like, have you ever considered, 8 o'clock? And I think a lot of landscapers are starting at 8 o'clock because other cities are starting them at 8, but we've always had it at 7. So the idea was to, I think was along the lines of like, well, a lot of landscapers are already doing 8, why can't we slide it a little bit later to keep the noise down? But I get your point on the keeping consistency and not limiting time any further.
Well, let's do we have a consensus to leave it alone? 7 o'clock for everything?
7's good.
Frank,
I think 8 o'clock is good.
you prefer 8? Kim?
I'd leave it
Leave
7.
it at 7. All right, well, we almost reached a consensus, but let's leave it at 7.
Okay. This is all recommended to move.
Wait a minute, about the holidays.
I'm sorry.
I threw that out there.
At the end.
Okay.
I made a note.
Yeah, I think that's the summary was that we're going to focus just on highlighted items, get through all those first,
Yep.
and then follow up with any.
Okay.
Okay.
So section 10-3, coastal construction control line. Planner Cerner recommended we move that to chapter 94. Everyone's in agreement.
Yep.
And then 10-33, time limits. This is what Member Wellings was mentioning about us trying to tighten up on the time it's taking them to do different projects. And we laid this out, we shortened, instead of it must be commenced, the project has to start in 3 months, or 6 months, we shortened it to 3 months. And then we also broke it down by project size. So the different tiers, for the biggest projects, which could be like a new construction or elevation, it's still going to be the standard, the 18 months we had plus the maximum of 6 months increase. So we kept that as the same period, but everything else was at that period as well. So that's why we cut it down. So remodels of a value of 300,000, or sorry, these are backwards, but yeah, it should be 300,000. More than 300,000 is 12 months. Less than 300,000 remodel would be 9 months. Then a pool would be 6 months. Other permits of a value of 25,000 or less, so very small things, 3 months. And then other permits of a value more than 25,000. So we just picked that threshold, sort of differentiate smaller projects, but between 3 and 6 months.
Okay, I have a question for Councilmember Shirley. From a developer standpoint, is 3 months a reasonable time to commence, or is this going to make people steer away from Bel Air Beach from taking jobs?
I think that's a fair amount of time. By the time you have a permit, you've already surveyed, you've already done everything that needs to be done.
We're saying from
You just
issue
have to
date. Yep.
mobilize, right?
Mhm.
So it might take you a month or maybe, a month and a half to get people mobilized, but that sounds fair. I think it's fair.
Okay. Question?
I wonder what problem are we trying to address here? Why are we even doing this?
I had a lot of pools that typically should take 3 to 5 months, take well over close to 2 years. Really bad ones that drag over that in worst case scenarios. But it just, every time we issue a permit, everyone gets that 18 months no matter what the permit's for. So it causes a problem if someone's got a very small project and they rip up their property and then they leave it like that for an extended period of time.
We have residents that don't live in the community per se, that are demoed and left it. hammered in and
I wanted to know what we were trying to address.
it gets complicated like this, but I mean, I understand the reasoning for it.
And I think just the same comment that I had before, we've got a lot of different criteria with different results, and that's difficult to communicate. So that would be my concern.
Do we have any council people here that are trying to redo their houses and just sitting there? You know? Work, construction in Florida is the slowest process I've ever seen. I'm not kidding, okay? I'm sure.
No, the same thing happened to me. I was putting on stairs on the front of my house, the storm rolled through, I couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I'm saying. I mean,
And I'm in.
I know there's a caveat in there saying you can extend it.
Well, yeah, like with this past storm event, we made some exceptions across the board for a while. But in a good, healthy year.
Who is ultimately responsible whenever these deadlines are not met?
I am, so I have to find out the date of issuance when I.
No, not you. That's
Oh.
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it the homeowner or is it the contractor?
It's the homeowner.
It's the homeowner. So this is something that is pretty much out of their control, depending upon who they hire. You don't really know what you're getting until you get them. And a lot of these, especially the small ones, they like to stack jobs up, and they'll take some of your money and then they'll come back whenever they feel like it. And so,
When they just go bust.
yeah, there's that too. Not everybody's that way, but I'm just trying to think of, okay, are we creating more problems for the community, or is this the right thing to do?
Well, I know the instances I know about personally, it was the homeowner that was the problem, not the contractor.
It was the homeowner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what, you mind setting up that scenario for us?
This was a pool.
Okay.
They came in, demolished the entire yard, and then started doing interior renovations without permits because they, under the eyes of they had a permit. And so there was a whole lot of additional work, and it took some work on the code enforcement officer to figure out that they have removed all the back doors and were pumping concrete in the back door and out of the pool. Things that you wouldn't even believe were happening. The pool contractor wanted to finish, and he wouldn't allow, the owner wouldn't allow him to finish. I had a conversation with the pool contractor. I suspect, he was very nice about it, but I suspect it was the financial, he wasn't moving forward because, the next payment was due type thing. It went well beyond the 2 years
Right.
building a pool, and someone else on the street built a pool in 3 months, so same scenario where one had to be removed and a new one put in, and so it can be done in a lot less time. But because he had that 2-year time frame, he used it and then some.
Yeah.
See, we're also at the mercy of the county.
Once they had issuance of the permit.
Yeah, so I count when the county issues, I can't control that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the county's not showing up for inspections, but you call them properly, they'll show up.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good about showing
Yeah.
up.
Yes. And then there's an inactivity code as well, if they don't have an approved inspection in so many days, that we use if there's lack of activity on the job site.
Yeah, like new construction, or Elevate project, 18 months. Elevate Florida now has issued permits or approvals since May of last year. And as of Friday night, they haven't lifted one house. Okay, so we're going on almost a year and they haven't lifted a house yet.
Is that a county permit? Is that the city, county, the city?
Well, they
slash
told
county?
me it's because of FEMA, which is a out and out lie. FEMA doesn't issue permits and FEMA doesn't make improvements. It's the county floodplain manager that has the final say.
Well, wait a minute, are they permitted for the lift?
Yes.
They have a permit.
Well, they went to apply for the permit. I don't know if they've actually gotten the permit, but something. Can't get a straight answer from these people, okay? They're saying that 750 have met their money and they've gotten their permits. They
Yeah.
haven't lifted the house yet.
So in Bel Air Beach, has anyone been issued a permit to lift their home and they're not doing it?
All elevations, there's one underway, one about to start. They both have permitting. We got another permit pushed through that needed a variance, but that is with the county now. But yeah, they're getting permits.
Yeah.
I have nothing sitting on a permit that's not getting
Yeah.
started.
So it may not, that scenario is a Florida thing and not necessarily a county and city permitting issue. All right, is there anything? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm fine with it, the way it is. I think the definition of commencement, I don't know, what if you move one brick or something, you've commenced or something. Yeah, so that I think they could probably satisfy that.
There's a
Pretty easy.
statement that's issued. There's a statement of commencement or something.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they actually have to, what they have to physically do. But I guess I'm not worried about that, I guess. That didn't bother me too much. And then with the fact that you've got the extensions, and the point is really just to have people come in and touch base with you on a regular basis to make sure things don't get out of control and things like that, right? And I think that this process will work.
Yeah, so like,
That's important.
it'd be like if I saw a pool that looked like it's been around for 6 months and it's not even close to finish, so that I could make contact and then let them know. So like, for instance, if we go down to the subsection C, we gave segmented extensions as well for the projects. So there is an option to extend these projects, but relatively usually about 50%, to give them a little more time. After that, what happens is we have to give it a code violation, and then it goes to the hearing, and then the magistrate works out a time that they agree to.
Was there a reason we had two number ones? Yeah, we just.
Yeah, I think I just need to correct the typos. I would change the order around a little.
Yeah, it's-
Steps.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea. It gives Kyle an opportunity to keep the homeowner responsible for keeping the project moving along.
Right.
Okay. Everybody in agreement with that? I don't see your heads nodding. Come on, do we agree? Consensus?
Yes.
Everybody good?
Okay.
Kim?
I think it's more complexity than we need, but I'm going to go along.
Well, if you didn't, you're still outnumbered, sorry. All right, so
Okay.
that one's good, keep that one.
Moving down. Okay, 10-36, site debris and hurricane protection. So we added, for construction that is limited to pool installation or renovations or limited to interior renovations, dumpsters or dump trailers that are not removed daily must be placed on asphalt or a concrete driveway. And such dumpster and dump trailers that are not removed daily shall only be permitted on site the first half of the permit time limits specified to section 10-34. So this is going to be first to make sure that they're not sticking roll-off dumpsters and tow behind dump trailers on grass lawn while they're doing remodels. The idea is to kind of keep it a little more uniform while it's a construction site, so that they're removing it daily. And if they do need to haul debris off for the job, they do it in the first half, and it's limited.
And I guess then,
Anders?
yeah, and there, just comment about like asphalt and concrete, very specific, not all driveways are asphalt and concrete, I guess we don't care about that. That was a
Sure,
mistake on that.
yeah. I'll change pavement.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, otherwise, I get your point, so yeah, I'm fine with it.
But what about, you've got a new build, that dumpster's out there the entire time. There's no asphalt, there's no concrete, everything's been scraped on the site. It's either demoed or it's a vacant lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to be one that's going to be easy to impose.
Should we?
You recall the conversation we had, so that's a complete add-on, right?
That is, yes, because this, I wanted to add a code that helped me enforce some regulations on dumpsters and dump trailers being left in yards. And I get complaints from neighbors by there are 3 trailers in this yard. I was trying to get some more regulations.
Mhm.
Well, what I'm reading is that this is for a pool or renovation. If it's a renovation, then that's not a complete knockdown, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so it's an existing building with an existing driveway.
Yeah, it's more so, it's not for like the projects that would tear up most of the lot and leave it that way, active construction. It's more so the remodels, the smaller things that do pull in dump trailers and dumpsters, but to limit the time.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of using those is they're usually gone in the next, they're usually gone, they're only there overnight or 2 days or something, you know, typically the owner of that dump trailer wants it back. They just want to pick up the trash.
You just put in there, limit it to 20 yards, where you can only fill it up. You put a 40-yard in there, it's gonna take some time to fill it up, 20 yards.
That's a dumpster, yeah. Let's say that some have multiple trailers that sit their trailer.
So we could cut it down, maybe not have the time period, but allow only 1 trailer in on pavement.
One trash receptacle, whatever it is, whether it's a trailer, a dumpster, it has to be.
Okay.
And never on the road, which you don't
Right,
have. a few
which
of
does
those.
happen,
We
yeah.
have a few of those on the road.
So what are we changing it to?
So 1036 to not, so we're not gonna have the part of the, it shall only be permitted on site for the first half of the permit time. So it would be the full permit time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But limit the number.
One trailer or dumpster on pavement.
And was your other purpose was to keep it off the grass? That was your,
Yes.
so we keep everything else then? So we just say, keep it off the grass?
The civilized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that's the
So
exact.
you don't have a size limit, so you do make them up to 60 yards.
I think it fitted.
We can fit in the concrete, the asphalt.
Do you need to add that it has to be maintained?
I haven't had a problem with the actual size. I figure as long as we're requiring it's on pavement, they're gonna be
Yeah,
limited.
because you still have to build, or whatever you're doing, you have to have room to be around it.
And some lots just have no room at all.
So we'll say 1 container, right, limited to 1 container.
One container, so trailer or dumpster.
All right,
Down to,
1040,
Yep.
1042.
yep, it looks like recommended for deletion. This is from the FDM consultant, and it has to do with the national flood insurance, so it's outdated. Recommended deletion, yep. And then P&Z accepted that.
No objection on my end.
Good.
And then moving down.
Ten 76.
Okay.
That's perfect.
There it is. Okay, this is on general standards
1074.
1074, okay. So, no person shall occupy or let another, for occupancy, any residential or non-residential property that does not comply with the following requirements. And we are going down to subsection 12. Every occupant of any building or structure shall dispose of garbage, rubbish, and/or waste materials in an approved sanitary manner. Garbage shall be placed in a garbage disposal facilities, or, and we put vermin-resistant storage container with lids as required by all applicable city codes. And then we added, bags and cardboard boxes shall not be considered vermin-resistant storage containers complying with the storage requirements of this subsection. And that is because prior, I was getting arguments by residents that they felt that they had a closed container by a contractor trash bag tied out. And I think that the rodents
Squirrels get
and
very
squirrels
into that,
get
yeah.
into that. So this is just to add more language to make it clear that it's not okay to put a bag, full of trash that, the animals can get into. Okay, moving on.
Everybody was good with that, right?
All right, 1077, maintenance and appearance standards. Okay, and then this is the permeable materials, the parking that we were going to allow outside of only on pavement. And it's all off-street parking spaces and drives shall be paved with asphalt or constructed of concrete or paver bricks. We cross out turf blocks and shall be smooth surface and good repair and in compliance with city codes. And then we added the use of permeable materials, geoweb, turf block, gravel, crushed shell, etc. may be utilized. Loose surfaces such as gravel or crushed shell shall require some method of containment, at least such as a 4-inch thick or 4-inch wide border material or pavement block, brick, concrete, composition material or equivalent to prevent flow of loose material. For additional front yard parking, residents may improve up to a 9-foot wide area adjacent to the primary driveway. Parking in any other part of the front yard is prohibited. So this was to build additional parking as long as it's within a 4-inch border. It can be composed of crushed shell, turf block, permeable surface to park on.
You can put that right in the front yard.
It has to be adjacent, it has to be built off of the main primary driveway.
So it could be,
So it couldn't be just like, get your driveway, your yard, and then just.
yeah, but my driveway's here, and my street's here, I can run it like at the street, because it's gonna connect to the driveway.
9 feet.
That's-
Yeah, there's some examples on,
That
there's
would
some
allow
examples
it,
on that,
the way
right?
it's written.
Yeah.
Because I had that question also. So if somebody wanted to put an extra parking space parallel with the street, they could do that.
No, that's the right of way.
Crushed shell.
Yeah.
Or crushed stone.
Yeah, then we have that on 7th Street.
Yeah.
There's like, I think 1 or 2 people that are doing that. They've done like a little T shape. Yeah, the driveway up and then along the road they put gravel.
Why did staff recommend this?
When we say staff, is that?
This, I'm trying-
Planning, is that,
this
Staff.
staff?
I was enforcing gravel parking throughout the city. I had 2 specific residents that really wanted to see this code changed, given their situations and having multiple kids or driving vehicles. So they specifically asked for this. And we found the code from Dunedin. As that example.
Floyd, you remember we met somebody that,
Right.
whenever we were campaigning, that wanted that really bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think of someone too that had a child, right, and they're in the cul-de-sac, so it's kind of tight anyway, there's not much front. They had additional parking, it looked great, they had it all, walled off with bushes and a little gravel spot. Driveway was here, there was grass in between, and they were given a hard time about that. It doesn't meet the code, so I don't know how, this new proposed code, I don't know how you overcome that. I'm just making a statement. There's some places that won't, they can't make it work.
Well, that still would work if there's grass between.
That won't work because there's grass in between. It'll look nice because it was landscaped very nicely. It wasn't like they were parking on the grass or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm just devil's advocate. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm not in favor of it at all. And I think you should have papers or something if you have
Yes.
additional parking. But that's just my feel. Because all they're doing is creating a parking spot next to the road. They're not parking on the road, but essentially they are.
Well, if you're right
In
on,
the case you talked about.
well, no, if you're right on the side of the road,
Yeah.
you get a heavy rainstorm or flood, I don't care if it's gravel or whatever, you're gonna push them shells into the storm sewer.
Everything on.
Right.
Yeah,
And we've cleaned out storm sewers, or he's cleaned out storm sewers in the past flooding, which were solid. I mean, there's hardly any drainage at all.
Well, because you don't know where the river's going to run. And whenever the river runs, it doesn't matter what it is, it's taking whatever the material is out.
Yeah.
But my thoughts on it, and of course it takes a consensus, but you tell somebody they can't park on the grass, and then they go, all right, well, I'll just rip up my grass and throw some gravel down and call it a day. Well, what did you solve? You're still parking on the grass. It's just not grass anymore.
Well, as it was noted, put pavers down there. Pavers aren't gonna float.
Yeah. So,
So-
what does everyone think? What would you like to do on this one?
Trash.
I'm not even a big proponent of the asphalt. I just think aesthetically, it doesn't look that well, especially once it gets to the age on it. And people are, I don't think for a housing area are going to spend any more money on some type of a seal. They may. But I don't think it looks as good as concrete or any of the turf blocks, something like that. I think are more aesthetically pleasing. We have the same thing, although I think sometimes the crushed stone or the shell, if has a border to it, that can look pretty well also. Obviously, we've addressed the issue with it not being bordered and it just spreading out somewhere.
But that happens in yards too. It's not, we're not even parking on it, and I see that all over, where the rock or the shell or the small pebbles are all over the road.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to go in favor of getting rid of it, at least the way it is. I guess I've noticed, especially over where my daughter lives in Jacksonville, there's a lot of driveways that are going in with like, just the wheel tracks are pavers and there's grass in the middle. So it's gonna look like, wheel track, paved grass, wheel track, grass, wheel track, grass. It's becoming very common there. It's driven mostly because of how much, they want better percolation and drainage, so they're trying to keep more like about how much grass there is. And it can be asphalt, it can be fake grass too. But I think it's a little still in there. I think it's a little, like, it's gonna be difficult to manage if they want to put another place to park. And it's on the grass, and but I do think they should put something so that I create ruts in the grass. I don't think.
I think the way it was originally written is fine. If you want to take out the turf blocks, that's fine, but I don't know why I don't think we need to change it.
I mean, I could say something about being facing vertical, so it's not all horizontal to the street situation built off the driveway.
So, but you're saying that they could, like, it made it sound like you couldn't have grass in between the two adjacent.
Well, yeah, I would leave it like it says.
So
All
you're saying-
off-street parking spaces and drives shall be paved with asphalt or constructed with concrete or paver bricks. Should be a smooth.
So
I think that's
no
fine.
allowing, like,
That's fine.
so what about all those driveways that want to do the mixed, track and grass?
I mean,
Even if
unless
there's
it's,
grass going this
It's only
way.
107.
There's a 107, there's one that's doing it all like a fancy design with grass in between. And I saw the one, that's a newer trend.
It is.
It's a new trend to do a lot more driveways with mixing with grass and.
but it's still the majority of it's concrete or.
It's a concrete drive.
Yeah, it's a concrete drive. Those grass strips typically are just put in on the concrete or something.
It's artificial.
If they're artificial.
But it's
I
like
think
modern
we can
artificial, so.
All right, so Jody, you sounds like you're perfectly fine with it. Anders?
I can live with it, obviously, I don't think it's, but when the trend starts, when people keep asking for it, to put grass driveways in, or, mixtures, I think hopefully we could figure out a way to allow that to happen. some point.
Kim?
Well, my thoughts have changed on this. I think allowing more permeable surfaces is a good thing, that we need to be able to do that. And so the question is, can that be done with only, the way this is written, I assume pavers mean like the pavers have to be the full width of the driveway, or can it accommodate what we've
I'm
talked
assuming the
about?
last paragraph still stays, which includes all the gravel approaches.
Or the last
Which are-
paragraph
which
is dropped,
So you're suggesting?
I'm saying leave it as it was originally.
Originally.
The
Okay,
original,
so
the
no-
black, the
no
black,
pro-
no
no gravel.
change.
No.
Yeah,
No reds.
no
red,
minor
okay,
change.
okay.
But then it's not allowing any crushed shell.
Right.
And is turf block that stuff that is like concrete
And holes
X's?
in the middle of it?
Yes, where the
It
grass
comes like
grows
in
through.
it comes like in a square, but it's got a bunch of X's in it. Yeah, what's wrong with that? That's been around since the 60s, and it's permeable, and it's permanent, and it stays in place. So why would we exclude that?
I guess I don't know why he actually did that, honestly.
Because you moved it from the front to the back of the same
Is it-
paragraph.
Move
You
it.
took out
Okay, so
the
it's
first
still-
sentence and you allowed it the second.
Oh,
sentence.
okay, yeah, they just added it, moved it down. So, yeah, the turf black is a little neater than gravel or crushed shell. So you could take those out of as an option. So you have to make the additional 9-foot space for
I
turf
think we
block
just leave it.
bordered.
My opinion is leave it as it was originally written and without the changes.
Oh, with no
Okay.
I
changes,
second that.
just leave it alone.
So that means
Frank?
that if somebody wants to put a driveway next to the existing driveway, that's okay. It's allowed by this first sentence.
So they still have to get a plan review.
Yeah.
They have to have a site plan review, and if they exceed their impervious areas, then no, it's not okay.
Right. So they're limited by impervious surface. Outside of that, there's no limit to your driveway. So this is, kind of preventing them from, creating too much impervious surface. But if they need additional parking, it enables a way to do so.
Has anybody come to you in the past with permeable asphalt and or concrete? Because there is permeable.
There was accepted at one point, but then Swiftblood, I guess, canceled what their recommendations were on the original. So we stopped accepting like permeable asphalt and concrete. Because the last we heard was that they don't last. Like they start out, they're pervious, and then they get filled
Right.
over time.
Okay.
I imagine the technology will improve, that they'll come back out with something.
Frank,
Right.
I'm with Judy.
don't include these changes, just leave it the way it was.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Everybody else good with that?
I just,
10,
okay,
77.
so there are some residents that do have the gravel right now. Are they gonna be in violation after
Well, that's a
that?
good question, grandfather.
Well, yeah, good question, because it's been code the whole time.
So we're gonna grandfather, maybe, okay.
Well,
Yeah, but
we're
it's
not
been out of
changing
code.
anything if we strip this out.
Oh, how did
They
they,
were out of code.
now maybe we'll enforce it?
I guess, yeah.
Well, we won't enforce it, I guess, because they're grandfathered in.
They're not,
No,
there's
there's
Grandfather,
no-
because we're not
there's no
changing
grandfather.
anything. They've always been out of code.
Right, okay.
Never got a permit.
Just because of the prior city
Right,
manager
right.
allowed them to get away with it, doesn't make it legal.
Or they
Maybe we
just
need to
pop
make
it
it
and really click
legal,
on you.
is what I guess. We're white hot.
Shell.
Like, I think the one I got on 7th, it just showed up pretty quickly. It was within a week, 3 days or something like that. They cut it out and put some shell and start parking on it.
Okay, so okay, all right, okay. All right, I'm fine with it.
Everybody okay with striking the strikes?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, moving on.
So what's the best way for you to handle that, Kyle? So if somebody says, hey, I'm complaining about Mr. Smith, he's got a rabbit in the driveway that he had.
Right, like, usually it'll start with parking, especially on Golf Boulevard where someone's parking on the grass because it's easily visible. And then, we'll go through on a sweep just to make sure that people are parking or just pay extra attention to that. And then we were doing that last time, and that's when I was finding all the gravel parking because I had the night deputies going around at nighttime to catch them all.
Okay,
So that's how it all started.
all right.
Okay. Let's see.
1076?
I think I skipped one.
Okay.
Wait, we were on
Or did we skip
77.
one?
We're on 77, so we're moving down.
1087.
7.
Oh, you're right, okay.
23 and 31.
Okay, 1087 indemnification. It looks like it was just needed to add 9 in the A.
And 10-124, similar question.
Yep. Yeah, just change the reserve numbers. Okay, so that will wrap up all of chapter 10 building.
There's a, and then there's the move, the whole swimming pool thing.
Yeah,
That was moved to Article 5.
all gets moved, it says it at the very bottom.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so that brings us into the next chapter, 22, environment, which is our nuisance code. Go down, section 22,
60.
Well, the infamous basketball.
2233. So it's a long list of what conditions considered a nuisance. And we went all the way down to section 24 and added the basketball hoops.
Right.
As you know, people have them, and as long as they're in good shape, we want to allow them.
Now, who, if you put a milk carton up there, like the city kids, okay, that's in good shape.
Beach basket.
We're not city kids around.
How do you tell the difference between a portable basketball hoop and a toy?
I'm gonna say like a full-size hoop that can go up to 10 feet, regulations, movable, versus like a little Fisher Price smaller.
Yeah, except this doesn't say regulation size.
Yeah,
Personally, I think that anybody that has like a quote, kids, like a tiny tyke or something that's sitting out there, they're not gonna wanna leave it out there. They have their kid out there, their toddler shooting, and at the end of the evening, I think most would put it inside only because otherwise somebody can walk by and say, ooh, I like that, it's gone. Now, the ones that, like I had for my daughters, the bottom portion is typically filled with sand and or water, and it weighs about 400 pounds. So you're not moving it. You're not putting it in your car, that's for sure. So that's the big difference.
Well, and that's another thing, is that the little tykes or whatever it is it could blow away easily.
It can.
So maybe there needs to be clarification of, it must be anchored with, water or sand.
okay.
Not be a flight risk.
What's that?
Not be
Yeah.
a flight
Not be a
risk.
flight risk, yeah.
Yeah, not be a flight risk.
So this ordinance, they can actually prevent you from putting garbage cans.
I was gonna say, I had that on my notes here because.
Can you really keep, you're not allowed to keep it in your backyard?
No, they have to.
No.
have-
Can't be seen for longer than 24
Well,
hours.
it says in any other portal, and cannot be left on any part of the property.
Visible from the street.
And visible. Oh, yes, combination of two. Great, thanks.
I left my house tonight and I saw 3 in the street when we went.
Well, my next door neighbors keep blowing it, he's moved it to the front of the house, and so yes, it blows in, right, all his trash blows in.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, 2238, abatement by city notice requirement. And this is just one of those, we have a assigned value for the fine or the fee. And this is going to be established by resolution. So if you recall, a lot of the fees throughout the code, they were listing an actual dollar amount, but we thought it would be better to say it as established by resolution, so that at one time we could look at all the fees set correctly.
Yeah, I remember this discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think that's a good change, and there are quite a few more that we'll be discussing tonight. My question is, so what is the process for setting the fee? Do we once a year come up with a schedule of fees?
So we were going to build a resolution that covered all the fees throughout the code and review that as well to approve that. So we're going to create that resolution.
Okay, so then we just update it as we need it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a much easier process.
Yeah.
It doesn't require two publicly posted meetings, and you don't have to advertise because you're not changing an ordinance.
No, I think that's a good change.
Let's see, this
another
is
one.
2240. It's liens for costs of nuisance abatement. and then it's the same thing, so we're good.
Okay.
2261, noise generally. And then, so this is recommended that we remove the yelling, shouting, etc., yelling, shouting, hooting, whistling, singing. So like, it was recommended we remove this because it's very hard to quantify. And there's some things for like equipment that say noise to a certain decibel. But with noise violations, we just felt like the yelling, shouting wasn't a code that could be easily introduced and measured to prove it was a violation. Like
Would the,
we never used it.
the sheriff's department would still arrive if you complained of someone disturbing the peace, right?
Yes.
Does this take some ammo from them if we don't have it in there?
I don't know. Tom?
No, I don't think it takes any ammo. They have the right to, to ask the people to quiet down. If they need to refer to a specific noise provision, I'm sure that they can find some other provision that would probably allow them to enforce it. I haven't read the rest of the code, but yelling and screaming and howling or hooting or whistling is, I don't know if it's in any of the code that I've
That's
seen.
annoys me, and it's not one of those. So I admit it.
So if you look at item number 11, other noises, etc., they could probably enforce it under that section.
Where you at? I'm sorry.
Next page. The creation or permitting of any loud or raucous noise so as to disturb the peace, quiet, or comfort. They would use that as their argument to quiet people down, I think.
Now, we already have a number 9 already addresses watercraft, motorboats, doesn't include the motorcycles, but
In any waterway. This is the other one that's talking about, I guess.
Yeah, we changed to boats in the section 4 because we had somebody that was running the engine.
in the driveway.
Yeah, in the driveway.
Oh, wow, okay.
Not for long.
They can do it, just.
It will not last long, trust me.
I believe we cited it because we could visibly observe the smoke coming off of it, so we were able to give them a notice, but we thought it would be better to cover that in code.
So wait, so you can't remove salt from outdoor motor?
If
regular hours?
it's really loud, and to the point that it's very loud for your neighbor and it's creating like fumes and smoke, that's what we're trying to prevent.
An IO is pretty loud out of the water, even with the little muffles on it and you're pumping water
If someone brings their
into it.
fishing boat back to their driveway and rinses out their motor, that's allowed.
See, an outboard, you don't have to run your engine, you just flush it.
So you don't have to come to those mufflers on
Well,
the
but that entirely, some of them said you should really get it through the, I don't know the details, but yeah, let's say there are some where it should go through the engine too. Anyway, all right,
I'm okay.
Whatever.
I'm okay with those suggestions.
I'm good with it.
Okay. Okay, moving on. 12, and then, yeah, boat motors out of the water, operating boat motor out of the water between hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. or any time longer than 30 minutes during a 24-hour period. Dan,
What did we, and I've already forgotten, what time did we say for the lawnmowers and stuff? 7 or 8?
That was, I think.
stick with 7.
7, you said 7,
Yes,
right?
I think we keep that consistent.
So this is, the next part is about
Right.
that as well.
Should we just make that 7 as well?
Well, this is the opposite, isn't it?
No, I think we settled on 7 in the first time.
to make it easy for
To
everyone.
make it easy for everybody. and
Yeah.
balance.
So we have to put this one back to 7.
Get 7.
Oh, yeah.
To revert back.
7 to 8. 7 to 6 too.
And also, like Frank was talking about,
From
earlier,
7
they
to
could
8.
think about adding the holidays if we choose to.
Right.
The hours between 6 p.m. and 7 a.m. It's doing the night to the day.
I know, I agree with that.
Okay,
So
right.
I use yours.
Yeah, right. Oh, gotcha, yeah.
So we'll just keep all the start times.
At 7.
Just start
Yeah,
at
yeah.
7, keep them the same. Okay, so we'll correct that.
You know that 6 PM on a boat is probably not, because people are coming in off the water during the summer. It's not dark until 8.
Yeah.
What about sunset
That's
instead of
probably
6
good,
PM? Because in
yeah.
the summertime, you still 2 more hours
I know,
or 3.
right.
I agree with
You
that.
know that could be just something that could tick off a neighbor if they knew about it and cause havoc.
That would be more logical, I think, for the boats. They can't say, hey, but versus the contractors and the long.
Right, no, we're talking about this,
Yeah,
what
just
we're
leave
doing
them
right
at
now.
6.
Yeah, because right now it's at 6. but-
Right. Sunset's good. The official sunset on the phone.
And that's only for boats?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and then, yeah, we got the hours we talked about. This one. So this is by the actual property owner, and looks like we're taking out the holidays. So a property owner can do it, any day. It would be Monday through Friday during the times of,
So the contractors can't, but the
the
homeowner
homeowner
can?
can, that's the
Okay,
exception for the
fine with
homeowner.
that. Everybody else?
So we figured we would just take out the holidays that was in there. For the homeowners, allow them to work.
Any day. I mean, a lot of people got.
I remember the first time I brought this up, I had a little issue with like 6 PM and like people doing it right after dinner. I don't know, but I'm fine with it. Just leave it.
Okay. And then again, we'll keep it at 7 for the time. And that's all of 22 environmental. So moving on to chapter 30, marine structures, activities and facilities. And
Oh, that's moved to 90.
This was
we
all
moved
right?
docks, yeah, the docks got moved into 94 because 94 had docks as well. Three. That also, so 3053 got moved per the planner's recommendation. So that just aligns so that the dock sections are all in the same chapter. And then it goes into seawall bulkheads, which was already in that chapter. To make changes.
Yeah, that was it for this.
That might have been it, okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, right.
okay, yes, this one.
Yeah, right.
So, it's been asked, because we have limited space, we have 18 slips we rent at the marina, and we have a wait list, and, in the last, I think it was 2 years ago, we did the wait list policy, and made it, cut it down quite a bit and required a deposit, so that the people on the list had to have some buy-in to be on it, because it was getting so long. It was tough to monitor and keep up with. So that's been working well. But there's still, even if it is wait lists of like 2 to 3 residents in the 3 categories that we divide the slips into, we might get a slip open once a year. So it's a very slow process. And it was an ask of somebody who is interested in getting a slip, but they're on the wait list and they're not seeing much movement. And they asked if there could be an exception to allow so many people to park their boats on trailers while waiting for their next spot to open up. And building that into our policy so that it would, they would be committed. So they would start, being in line, and, by priority order, they would be allowed if they wanted to take us up on parking a trailer in that
Two
lot.
questions.
Yes.
First, we were told we're not allowed to give up any permanent parking spaces or we'll lose beach nourishment, because I want some designated residential spaces at Morgan Street. And I keep getting kickback, that cannot be done. So why are we allowed to give up parking at the marina for boats and trailers?
I'll have to check that, if that truly is what it is.
You go to trail.
Right, but the point is if we have however many spaces at the marina, and we designate half of those spaces with a fenced-in area for boat parking, then we lose the parking spaces.
I don't think is there language saying that we have to supply 30 car spaces?
Well, that's what I'm always told, Frank.
No, there is
There is
calculation.
actually a measurement that they go by that makes us qualify. For instance, just that little walkway going next to the condos, they were wanting to close that. That would have disqualified us completely from getting beach nourishment. Well, it's kind of the same deal with
Well,
parking.
Yeah, I can understand that, but as long as you're providing parking, I don't know. Is there, like you said, is there so many square feet you have to provide?
I don't know, I can't.
So,
keep some spaces
I-
designated for
They're just ridiculous.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 spaces, max.
What, for boat trailers?
If we were to
I
do it.
looked at it, and if you just did one half, you could probably put 5 or 6. And if you charge $100 a month, bring in like a couple grand a year.
Probably, I'm assuming that the easement or the whatever agreement we have is with the county.
Right.
And so we need to go back to that original agreement and see what we actually signed for 20 years ago or however long ago it was.
Because how do we justify all that equipment in there now? I mean, that's taken up.
It's been a battle.
Yeah, but that's been a battle for 3 years now. I mean, they still reels in there, equipment in there, trucks in
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it just rolls down, so the reason we can't have 2 designated parking spaces like we always have up until a few years ago doesn't make sense to me.
Can we revisit that? I mean, that is more than,
I think we can't answer this question until we have more information, right? So that one I'll come back
Okay.
to.
Get that. Okay, moving on. 38109 renter decal. Okay, so the vehicle documentation, so this is if a renter, let's see. Okay, so if it's a renter, and they gotta get a beach parking sticker. And it's for parking in, Morgan Drive, the Marina, City Hall, Bayside, and then the 3 beach accesses, Bella Shore. So that we wanted to remove the registration address and the valid driver's license shall match the city address of the leased property. We just want to remove this because it more often than not, the renter doesn't have it, and it seems to cause a problem where we don't have a problem on the other side of it, where too many people, we feel that it's being abused. We do notice though, when a renter shows up, they're usually either they are doing lease rentals or they're doing maybe a short time period, and they haven't changed their vehicle registration to that address. So we're just wanting to cut that requirement out, because what we do find is the renter being frustrated just because they're showing us their lease, they're showing us everything else, they just don't have that matching to the
So
address.
they have a lease that matches their address.
Yes, they're showing that they're a renter. It's just it to actually require that it matches is causing a problem
They
for
could be a
renters.
snowbird, they've done a 3-month rental, their address is in Pennsylvania or wherever. Yeah, that's a big change.
but that still doesn't give them access to 21, 43, and 66 lots with the new signs that just posted. just residents only.
They're a resident for that 3 months.
Yeah, they're a resident
It
renter.
has, the deed say landowner.
Oh, landowner. Okay.
Anyway, I think this is fine.
And so I had conversations with the sheriff, it's a real platform.
This decal is different, right?
No, this is the same decal, but it's a calendar year, just like everything else,
I
so,
mean, is the color different? Does it say something different?
no,
Does it say
The-
snowbird?
no.
The decal's a
That's all I'm
different,
saying.
isn't the decal a different color for a renter? It's a different
Is
color.
it? You got a
Yes.
different one? Oh,
It is a
Correct
different
you.
color.
we do have a different color.
We have a different color for renters.
People that are leasing, it's a different color, like we have white this year.
Right. I think theirs is, I don't know this year, blue or gray.
Okay, so
It's
we
a
are-
different color.
Yeah, if you
Do marina different color, leaser different color, and then residents a
If
different
you
color.
do a 90-day lease, do you get a 1-year sticker?
Do we get a lot of abuse, as far as you can tell?
It rarely is a problem. I mean,
Yeah.
and then
I don't think so.
our staff would, I mean, if it is a 90-day lease, we're gonna question, you know.
Alright, so we're good with that?
Okay, so that would have been all of, what were we, chapter 38, so now we're moving on to 50. Streets, sidewalks, and other public ways. Yep. Roadway, intersection, visibility. This one might be short. Yeah, I think that's it.
E-134.
Okay. 50, okay, 5134, additional fees. So there's some changes, word changes, remove the statute that was referenced, establish fees by resolution.
Why did we delete that reference?
The planner did that.
Why?
I can
How else
find,
do we know what a telecommunications tool service is?
I can get the details on the, I don't know if
I mean,
the statute is expired or it's a 2000 edition that it references.
I'm assuming, and I hope it's a good assumption, that anything that planner Cerna
Yeah.
recommended was because of some regulation in a law or something.
Conflict,
Wasn't
something.
it
Yeah.
just an opinion?
Tim's gonna check if it's still valid, the code, I guess. Yeah, maybe code statute or something.
I can ask them about the statute, get that information.
Oh,
It's the key definitions.
Okay, so that would have been all of 50. Next chapter is chapter 58, traffic and motor vehicles.
We can come back to that.
And then this one came up, we didn't review it the first time around, but it came up while we were reviewing in the planning and zoning. And it was about construction parking. Louisa Drive currently has 4 large projects. I'm sorry, we're on
58.
90 of 208. And it's 58, sorry, that's a page number.
what chapter?
58, 32.
31 of 32.
Is that the one I think for some reason was at the back?
Page 5 of 8 on that.
What chapter was it again?
58. And it's 58, 5 of 8.
It's in blue.
Page 5 of 8 on the bottom.
no idea where it is, so I'm gonna just. I know, I go from
5832.
50 to
B.
70.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's why. That was the one that was left
50 to
out.
70. I think we all do.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you guys
I'm
did
not-
not get this.
it's
There's
online.
there's one piece in it. Let me just make sure. Okay,
Okay.
so this was left out, but there's one thing we discussed, and it related to construction parking. And Louisa Drive is right now experiencing a lot of issues with parking. It's limited because there's large projects and it just has very limited space on there. So the residents that live on Louisa Drive are looking at some control measures that we could either add to our permitting to get some control over the parking, or adjust our parking rules in general to prevent blockage and just congestion for emergency vehicles to pass. So I don't know if this makes the most sense, but they thought that adding generally to B, which is to standard park a vehicle, adding within cul-de-sacs, you're not allowed to standard park, or within 10 feet of a driveway. So currently, right now, you're not allowed to block a driveway.
Just 10 feet up.
Yeah.
Every construction vehicle in a town would be tagged with this 10 feet. of
There are people driving semis.
I'm just,
Tractor
well, have
trailer.
you seen the truck?
No, I mean, the residents, are they driving tractor trailers that maybe 10 feet from theirs?
That might be a little much, and that might limit too much.
I mean,
As
if you
far-
just
'cause
look
we
at
don't
around,
have-
I'll use my house as an example. I have a circular driveway. I took just the circle part out, but I have still the two driveway accesses where they were. The neighbor across the street has two. There's no way anyone can park in front of our houses without being 10 feet behind
Right.
one of
It's
the
not reasonable.
driveways.
Okay.
So that's leave
So no
those two
truck.
out.
What do you feel about the cul-de-sacs? There's very few cul-de-sacs that you can park in between a driveway without blocking one.
Yeah, you
You can at hers, that's for sure.
No, it's always a problem down there.
Yeah, you'll have an all-out war.
Like 14,
You have
15,
more blocking.
16, cul-de-sacs, right?
You're not that wide either.
Oh,
And 14, 15, 16, 17, I think they're all cul-de-sacs.
so you're
Yes.
agreeing that the cul-de-sac one would be good?
It's a problem, yeah.
But that would be good to add that?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, probably, because I mean, like, you know, Bruno down Sailing, I'll just say, he parks in front of, you know, Cantor's house.
Well,
It's still-
The driveways are close in the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, they're close anyway. And
Yeah.
if there's a car in there, no one's getting around the cul-de-sac. They're hardly getting around them as they are,
I
so.
would say leave 9 in and don't put 10 in.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
okay.
Everybody good with that?
And then I would put a provision in there that we offer them off-site parking at one of our lots, if we have to give them parking passes for the day or something, but especially given Louisa, how bad it is there, it's always an opportunity to get the vehicles off, you know,
Mhm.
they can, if it's a crew of block masons, they can drop a car at the marina and get a parking pass for the day or something like that. But I don't know if we're
What-
going to code, but I think we should probably start utilizing that for some of these things.
We definitely are telling them. They're reluctant to want to go that far, but there's no choice sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets to.
I have two daughters, one lives in St. Pete, one lives in Clearwater. When I'm over there in their area, I really have a flashback of how much I appreciate the fact that we do not allow parking on the streets.
Same
You're
here.
driving in the streets, and it's like, man, they can't get by almost half the time. There's two people brilliantly will park on opposite sides of the street, you know, directly across from each other.
That
You
makes me
allow
happy all
parking on
day.
the street, you'll have people changing in their cars, throwing diapers out, going to the beach. I mean, you look at other areas of the country, I mean, it's, where they have,
But that happens during construction day, you know, that just happens on a
well,
regular.
how about the diapers?
No, I'm just saying like the parking, so that is, it's a problem in the community.
Okay.
So what's going on that file?
So,
So I think we're
So moving on, so that was 58, we're moving on to chapter 70. I think.
70-3, is that where we're at?
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Right there.
Okay, looks like we just crossed out transportation on
So he's just
level
recommending.
service, and that aligns with our comprehensive plan amendments.
Okay.
And we took that out because we don't have public transportation, is that correct?
Yeah, so we adjusted that align with what our comprehensive plan was. And then,
Where can a Jolly Trolley stop? Anywhere in the city?
not supposed
No.
to, we're supposed to report it if they do. Let's see, we need to move this section to,
That's a big cost, right?
Yes.
For the problems.
Yes.
Well, if you put a bench out there for them, someone would be sleeping on it.
Hmm.
okay, so it looks like he added a whole brand new plan and replaced the old one.
Like that, all that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Transportation management plans.
And he just brought it up to date. And this came from our comprehensive plan as well. Is there any questions or comments just on this large section you replaced? Okay. Then 74, it starts at the top, it says ordinance number blank. This was updated and revised with the help from a consultant with FDEM. And
If you get 70, you might have 70.
It should be
7, one on the
the
back.
back.
Possibly.
Yeah,
There it is, yeah.
doesn't have a page number, but it's towards the back, maybe the last 20 pages.
Okay, got it.
I think it's actually.
so there's some comments made by the FDEM consultant that just has to do with points. So there's areas that she added things that'll give us a little more points in our CRS, which is always good. And then she updated where the Florida building code had changed.
And tanks aren't they like propane and?
So yeah, the problem with the way our tanks were listed, it said propane, but it has to include all tanks for flood code. She removed the placement of recreational vehicles.
You said she, who was that? Is that something on planning and zoning?
I think this had to do with, I can go back and ask, I think this had to do with the, maybe the mobile home vehicles. There's something where she changed the terminology. I'm gonna have to trace back to my notes.
She being the consultant? is that what you were
Yes,
asking?
yeah,
Yeah.
Rebecca Quinn,
Who does she work for?
FDEM, but I don't know her consulting company.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so I gotta check on why she removed recreation vehicles. That's a long line. Water course.
Yeah, what are water courses?
I think she removed it because we don't have one by definition.
Okay,
I don't know. We removed the other one, the Riverine
right.
floodway, because there's just no floodways in Bel Air Beach. we don't expect to have any. They changed the date. I guess it got amended at a later date, so that's on 74-63.
Of course, one, and then,
Moved water course.
yeah, so that goes away. But that really makes sense to me too.
Yeah, we took out
Why is it female?
floodways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was listed in the paragraph.
What's with the comment sorry, you're in,
So I put an asterisk floodway because everywhere that she removed floodway from the whole chapter.
Oh, okay.
So she pulled it out every which way, place you could pull it out.
And water courses.
She crossed out additional analysis and certifications. Water course
She
definition.
didn't cross that out entirely, she left a sentence, I think, right to, on the big cutaway, you said 74, 93,
93.
74, 93.
Other way.
74 dash 93. Yeah. She kept the,
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, yeah, good point. For activities that propose to alter the sand dunes or mangrove strands of the coastal high hazard areas, zone V, the applicant shall submit an engineering analysis signed and sealed by the Florida licensed engineer, demonstrating that a proposed alteration will not increase potential for flood damage. So, yeah, it's updated,
Seemed good to me.
per zone V, which we don't have currently, unless we get remapped. Okay, we had coastal A zone because we were going to, it was recommended that we eliminate the use of the backfilled stem wall in the coastal A zone. That's just because I think Florida Department of Emergency Management just errs towards like what's safer. We're not required to take away that foundation option. So when I brought it to the Planning and Zoning Board, they didn't want to limit it. So they recommended against it.
Okay.
So we didn't make it. So right now, the only difference between coastal A zone, which is a LIMWA zone, limited wave action, is that on a the only difference between a coastal A zone and a V zone, which is the high velocity zone, that's the strongest zone you can be in on the Gulf, and then usually you get assigned a number with the elevation that you need to be at. So for coastal A in Bel Air Beach, you have to follow every requirement of a V zone, except you can build on a backfilled stem wall. So that's the only thing, that's the only difference. And some communities take away that option. They say everything needs to be at V zone standards for coastal A zone, which is, limited wave action to under 3 feet. But our planning and zoning board recommended that we keep it.
Okay.
Let's see. So the chapter change.
Was that a typo?
It looks like it, yes. highlight, so that it's in blue. This is what she did add, and then we removed after recommended. And then another recommendation was to change the definition for the actual cash value. It was recommended that we switch. See, she said almost all communities we've worked with in the past 2 years, nearly 250 have made this change to remove the traditional market appraisal. FDM approved this on relay and ACV as primary method. So yeah, so actual cash value, that's what we had to use for the storm. It is recommended because there's less judgment and less opportunity for, yeah, it's true. So right now with our code, we leave it open. So it says that you can get an appraised value from, let's see. Market value can be established by a qualified independent appraiser. It's submission of the determination of the actual cash value, in-kind replacement, cost depreciation for age, wear, tear, neglect, and quality of construction prepared by a qualified independent appraiser. So that in itself is what FEMA wants you to do.
And that's what we did, we just didn't have it in our code.
Yes, and that's what we did. The only problem is if it's not in our code, we can't hold someone to it. You know what I mean? They're going to be able to just have the qualified appraiser. So I explained that to planning and zoning, and they felt like they wanted to keep that in there. They want to allow, you know, any qualified appraiser to determine the value for the structure for that purpose. And as of now, we're allowed to leave it if we want to. So I think their take was leave it, leave the flexibility, don't make it stricter. Okay. So water course cleared. Okay, there's an additional building code technical amendment she put directly in there. We added manufacturer homes as defined in 15C-1 for administrative code, and occupancy of recreational vehicles is defined in Florida statute are not permitted. So basically we're saying, we already knew that, manufactured homes are not permitted, and it looks like we need to cross out recreational vehicle from the title. That was probably missed.
Okay.
Where do prefab homes fit in that?
So as a prefab home, there's nothing that prevents bringing in a prefab home and putting it on the foundation. Is that the question, or what?
I mean, because I think that they're manufactured homes, and some people split hairs, and I'm trying to find
A
that.
manufactured home is a HUD home approved, it's on a frame, metal frame. Pre-manufactured home, like
Prefab home.
prefab home.
Like a mobile home that doesn't have wheels.
Right.
Yeah, but none of them have wheels when they come to their sound.
Well, manufactured homes generally all have wheels. They'll wheel it right into the job site, or if it's gonna go up on use a crane. But it's also a HUD rated home. It's got a 15 amp rating system, million panels.
Can we define the difference, because I'm having a struggle with this, I don't want, I think we should have a restriction on prefab homes too. Because they're not
Prefab
much
homes.
different than a manufactured home.
Prefab home is probably better constructed than a stick-built
Is
house.
that who builds it, right?
Well, it depends on who builds anything.
Is there a statutory definition of prefab home?
No, just manufactured homes.
Can be provided, because I'm looking it up right now, and I'm not,
You're okay with, like he was interrupted with that, no, you're not okay with it.
No, because I think we're dropping the ball on the requirement for the foundation and how, and I'm worried about this with the houses that are being elevated. How are they being finished?
Well, the elevation is one thing.
How are they to finish the part underneath the house? Because, you know, the ones that I know of in our city, and I think we have two, the way it's enclosed underneath is bad. It's just, it looks like particle or plywood, exposed plywood with a little
But
paint on it.
that's not prefab.
Well, that's, if you listen to what I said, I'm concerned about how
Yeah, but that's
how
not
it's treated
prefab.
underneath, how the foundation, after you've got it's set on the foundation, what are our requirements? And this is where we're dropping the ball with our architectural requirements.
We don't have any
I
requirements.
know, that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, so what the definition I'm getting, or one of the items that's mentioned is, it's built to HUD code, it's not built to local building code. That's the difference, a manufactured home.
So if we get a prefab home, we better make sure we look at it, and if you get a request for it, I'm relying on our code, our review, construction review team, whoever that is, you, to provide us with, it meets all building codes, and I don't think they do. I can tell you, I've been firsthand involved with some that were doing prefab walls, and they had the Miami-Dade approval on one wall, and when the structure changed its configuration, that approval did not meet.
Let me ask you this.
I know it's off subject, but just can we?
Yeah, but like
have
what
that-
Dave just read doesn't have to meet building code. But 90% of them, take like Clayton Homes and all, I get up to store manufacturing, they will exceed any building code.
I think, Jody, I think we should bring it up as another topic, and we'll come back to it, dedicate.
So
Yeah.
the concern is
Another day.
prefab homes being placed on foundations and the security of them.
She's talking about the underlayment.
And then the appearance as well.
Yeah, I don't want plywood nailed up and then painted. I mean, that's just not a,
How about just an open, like down in the Rock Beach? You're up, you're open, for your cars.
that's something to talk about.
That is something to talk about because
You brought that.
I did look
Yeah.
and there's nothing that says one way or the other. I could argue possibly with some code that you can't do it.
Well, that was my question with LA, Florida. You going to do a turnkey and you close the bottom, or you just going to do it up?
And then you know when it's enclosed, what's going to happen now.
Well, and the answer is, I don't know. I said, well, what business are you in? Right.
So we'll just say elevated homes or prefab homes for the future.
I mean, it clearly states that we're not allowing either. Is that right? Am I reading that wrong?
We're not allowing manufactured homes.
Okay, so I think it's not even worth talking about. Because
That's what I
we're,
said, let's handle it
Yeah.
another meeting. It's another meeting, but
Yeah.
let's put it
Yeah.
down as.
well, I'm just saying, leave it the way it is. It sounds to me like it's perfectly written the way we want it, which we don't allow.
Right, yeah.
I'm trying to reconnect my internet.
Not connecting.
Yeah, well, the Cobb secure went down. See if the other.
Does anyone need a break while we're breaking? No?
I think do we all have a hard copy or a computer runs? We probably can just move on, Kyle, we can stay with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to connect my Wi-Fi. It disconnected.
You just want, I think what she was saying, you just want to go by the hard copy.
Oh,
Here,
As opposed to that.
are you sure? Because I mean, no one can see it.
We've
we
got
all have copies of it.
I have a copy in my
Okay.
notebook here.
All in the way.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
You're on 74-164.
152.
All right. Well, maybe it'll come back. All right, so 74, 152, floodway omitted. 74, 164 was another one that was floodway. And then we get to the tanks. The big change here is just to not classify it as a liquid propane tank. It just needs to be all tanks. Because they're dangerous. They get buoyant and then they break foundations. Yeah, that's just comment on how we number it on floodway. Okay, so that's all of 74. And now we're on chapter 78, and it looks like he just removed this whole chapter and just reserved it.
Move to zoning, right?
Yeah, I think he didn't make the note, but I believe.
That is, if you go down lower to the next page,
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't see it. Yeah, okay, zoning, all right.
so that's the end of that.
That's the end of that.
Okay, last chapter.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I have a question while we're getting into chapter 94 for you, Tom. So this less restrictive, more restrictive moratorium thing that is going on right now, is it only for the structure and what's inside of it, or does that include the yard and?
What are you talking about, less restrictive, more restrictive? I'm not following you.
Well, are we still under a moratorium where we can't make code more restrictive?
Well, you're talking about the House Bill 784.
Yes.
So, yes, we cannot make things more restrictive relative to the actual structure itself.
Only the structure?
Yeah, it's not going to have anything to do with the landscaping, if that's the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, just wanted to make
Would
sure.
eliminating manufactured homes, even though nobody has them here, would that be a violation of that, since you're restricting them now?
We're not changing it. It was already in the code.
We didn't have it in the code, manufactured homes before.
It said manufactured homes.
We had it in the code, I didn't see it in the code.
Yeah.
Before tonight?
It was already there.
All right, well, my mistake.
So wait, what chapter is that? Just for my reference.
Where was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I'll find it.
Oh, there it is, 74, 144.
Okay. More clarification.
Oh, no, it does say adds language prohibiting Yeah, that is a new code. We didn't have it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So we can take a look at that, see whether or not, it was meant to include manufactured homes and see if it's more or less restrictive.
Yeah, I thought because I brought that up to you, remember?
Yeah, and I know there's like
Put my house down for
a difference in
manufactured
definition.
Well, no, I mean, you have some that are Florida's building code standards, you're winning that.
Yeah, though they have to be because the
Yeah.
county certifies it. Okay, so chapter 94 zoning, it's the big one. So we started off in definitions and accessory structure. We added a little bit to it. Means a structure, the use of which is incidental to the main building and which is attached to or adjacent to the main building, but shall not include terrace walkways without steps, non-permanent decorative blocks used to retain landscaping plants or trees, and then we added bird baths or foundations of not greater than 4 feet in height. And fountains. Sorry, yeah. Bird baths or fountains. So there are bird baths throughout the city, and it was supposed to allow that as an accessory structure to be acceptable. So there wasn't a confusion. Then they added angle of repose, I believe because they're used in swimming pools, didn't have the definition. building height, let's see what we got. So it's the definition of the building height. So we added the vertical distance measured from the design flood elevation plus freeboard as specified by 94-161 to the highest point of the roof, excluding vent pipes, roof ventilators, elevator shaft extensions limited to 8 feet in height, air conditioning units and such decorations as chimneys, cupolas, etc. Provided no height extension, i.e. cupola, should be used as a habitable space, and provided no plumbing or electric shall be allowed after the 35-foot height restriction. So this is clarification on maximum height and what could be allowed above that.
35 is 35. Is that what you're saying?
30, yeah,
Above the floodplain.
35 above the base flood elevation plus 1. It says design flood elevation.
So we're gonna have some tall houses in the neighborhood.
That's how it was already written, right? Somewhere,
Well, that's what you guys have agreed on. That's what you
somewhere
guys
right here,
approved.
we're talking about 50, right? Like,
Yes,
on
for residential medium, the condominium,
that. Okay.
they wanted to increase that one.
You look at some of these,
Just leaves on the road.
you look at this, the houses being up on 14th Street.
Yeah, that one's huge, but that's gonna be coming back down. I guess they're gonna lower it down, is it?
Yeah, but what, 6 inches or whatever, you know? Yeah, I mean.
Sound like a couple
they'll-
feet,
they'll-
you're
they'll
right,
take
anyway.
6 lights out.
That's your house, can you imagine?
So we added coastal construction control line as a definition, coastal high hazard area as a definition. Change condominium to multifamily throughout this chapter so that it aligns with what our zoning should say and also our comprehensive plan. I should call it multifamily. And then design flood elevation was added. The definition. And some of these definitions were added in zoning by the FM consultant because 94 also has some flood code in it. So she just wanted to make sure that all these definitions were in there. And then the floor area ratio, this is where we had to correct the definition to not include parking garages, exterior stairs, exterior balconies, or any unfinished or flood-resistant enclosure. Because if you do include that, and it contains, but if you do include that, you're just not going to hit that ratio if you build your structure as an elevated structure above flood. So it just needs to be in there to make the definition make sense. Gazebo, we added gazebo. This would be in addition to the allowable detached structure, which is right now limited to a shed with specific definition and square footage. So this would open up the ability for someone to have a gazebo. It would still have to stay out of the, that stay in the building area, out of the setbacks. But everything else than that, it'd be just like where a shed would be permitted, you could have a gazebo.
But it's not in the building area. Like a shed is not in the building area.
A shed,
So how could this?
a shed is just not in the setbacks, so
Right,
it's
so
gotta
a
be,
gazebo could be treated the same way as a shed, just not the setbacks.
it can't be on the side,
that's
obviously
the
it can't be in
only
the front. It has to be in the back, not visible from the road.
You have to have a unique set of circumstances to install a gazebo.
And it's still limited to the 100 square feet as the shed is. So it's been an ask of some residents throughout the community. As far as between a shed that looks like it's kept up well and a gazebo, I didn't see too much of a difference, but I mean, up to the council.
The gazebo that we there was a big problem. There was a person who had one and they had to room it there.
That's true.
Would they have been allowed to have it, had this coop in there?
Well, I think theirs is probably in the setback. That's the one I'm thinking.
I have to go back to the case.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a
Harris-
setback or
Moved
not.
Onto the property a little bit.
They were Fuller County too.
Yeah, we enforce the fine.
Do you want me to get the history on that? If it wasn't a
That's not
setback? or-
necessary.
Either way.
Honestly, I'd rather see a gazebo than a shed if it's allowed to go in the same place.
Right.
Me too. That's what I was thinking, like how many people, that's a nice thing to have, covered space out by your pool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think I could see people utilizing that over a shed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, and then hedge, we added to the definition. And this is an area that we're considering, it was recommended by the planning and zoning that we outlaw bamboo throughout the city for causing problems in the nature of the plant. There's different opinions on it. We had a resident that was, felt strongly about it, come and, make his presentation to the planning and zoning board, and they seemed to be okay with outlawing it. They were in agreement to recommend it. There are people that have bamboo throughout the city, so if we do discontinue allowing it, then we might have to think about a time period to allow them
Just
to
say how
correct.
we deal with that, where it's freshly planted. So it just- So would you give them a time frame to remove?
At least 6 months, I would think. No?
So
I've got bad for you. I mean, it's all just
we
saying.
have a lot of it.
Yeah, and
it's
there's
all over
people-
the city, I
and
believe.
people are landscape and started, even new landscaping, they planted a lot of it.
It's a weed that eventually becomes a tree.
Yeah, it gets out of hand. It's
Goes
very
fast.
invasive. It's kind of.
Very invasive,
Same
very hard.
like the tree I had that I lost
Control.
during the storm, those are invasive trees, those banyan trees. And, we allow them, but it's probably, they get out of hand if they're not maintained.
Mhm.
There are certain varieties that are clustered and they don't spread. I know one of my neighbors paid a lot of extra money to have that variety.
I've heard of varieties. I'm not considered an expert, so I don't know much. I can't tell you about each one.
So what's the impact of including areca in the definition of a hedge?
Okay, my point was, if we do outlaw bamboo, we want to take this out of this definition. But the purpose of defining areca palms are considered a hedge when the plant is grown in rows or clusters in a manner that creates an opaque barrier at the height of 8 feet above the existing grade.
We have arekas side of our property by the pool. We put them in. Previous to the arekas, we had, what's that poisonous tree in the big Yeah, oleanders. So we had oleanders. They got some disease and died, so we replaced them with arekas. And they're beautiful, but 8 feet is plenty high enough. It's used as a hedge, so
But
they're,
they grow taller than that.
well, you can maintain the height. You can easily maintain it. We do. So you just pick the highest palm frond, follow it down, cut that bad boy off, and the rest of them are down. So you just want to trim, you can't trim it like a hedge. You have to find the tallest palm fronds that are up there. If they're starting to get over 8 feet, and that's how you control the height.
I think lots of people have arekas.
They do.
But as a hedge, it's talked about here, so if you.
But if it's on the side of your property, it seems like, why would we restrict the height?
These are definitions.
So
It's the neighbors.
In the definition, we wanted to say that, because a lot of people have areca palms, but they border on a lot of the interior streets, the back property line,
Yes.
that butts up against the back of the other yard. And a lot of these grow like 15, 20 feet, so they grow taller, and they're not blocking line of sight because it's trunks at that point and the foliage is higher. But the idea was to exclude those as being a hedge in that situation. If they're not blocking or making it opaque up to the height of 8 feet, and they're growing above that, it was to kind of exempt them and not consider a line of arekas a hedge.
If they were taller.
Yes. So you'll see them on the back of the property lines, and then also on some of the Berry Island, on the island, I should say the fingers, they're on the sides, and they'll grow relatively tall. So, like I said, it's not like a block hedge, like where you can't see through it. You just got trunks that are lined.
Well, then why would we care? Why do we want areca to be considered a hedge and therefore subject to a height limit?
Well, I just want to give it an exception so that people don't have to cut down their areca palms to a height of 8 feet.
Is this not included?
Anything in red that's not going to strike through is new code.
Right, so it's considered a hedge. And therefore, so you've got closely grown arekas that are on the back property line or wherever they are. They've grown to 15 feet. So now we're going to consider them a hedge and therefore should be limited to 8 feet?
No, I think the purpose is to not consider them a hedge. Once if they're not up to 8 feet, if they're not creating an opaque barrier, then to allow it as a hedge. Or to allow it and not consider it a hedge.
If they're using it for privacy, it's a hedge because they put them real close together. But if they spread them apart, they can let them go.
But again, why do we object? Why do we object if they're close?
Because
arekas?
because whenever you plant something like that, you cluster it all together and you let it go. Guess what happens? It starts doing this. And next thing you know, you're all over on your neighbor's property. You're killing their grass. They're getting no sunlight. It's just a mess. And with it having some reservations and maybe 2 or 3 instead of 30 of them, well, maybe that's okay. But having them all clumped together and then saying, I don't care what my neighbor thinks, that's been the problem all along. That's the whole reason why this hedge versus tree versus shrub, this whole argument keeps coming up is because we can't seem to get it nailed down to where everybody's happy.
Number one reason why we were out of power in the city for 5 days during Irma was poor maintenance for landscape, overgrown trees, bushes, or whatever, and took down lines or whatever.
I have a neighbor close by to me. It's not my issue, but he has a neighbor who they're not hedge palm trees, they're big palm trees. And they're separated like 8 feet between them. But they're so big, in touch. But the problem is the big palm fronds that fall and the berries that fall and hit his pool deck and stay in his pool deck. I mean, they're close to blows. They're really not happy with each other. Because the guy who's says, hey, your stuff is doing this. We got to the point where the other guy says, too bad.
That's an ongoing issue, Tom. Is there any way that is it a nuisance? Is it some sort of invasion when people grow vegetation that then goes to their neighbor's property?
It could be considered a nuisance. Special magistrate would have to make that determination.
Whose right is it to trim it? So the tree's on property owner A, the tree's there and it grows over the property owner B.
I've done it.
Can property owner B trim it at his vertical?
As long as you stay on your own
As long as you stay on your property, you can trim it.
Yes,
So
makes sense.
guess what I could, walk the wall.
Here's a question.
But our code also says you can't encroach, so we do enforce. If
But the
we can
risk
see the
from-
property line and you're over the,
Something like
Okay,
that.
your plans can't go over the property line.
they
Doesn't our code-
can't encroach your neighbor's property.
Doesn't our code office say, we just had a resident here, about affecting someone else's property?
Right.
He said, leaves blowing in his pool and everything like that.
Yeah.
But if we said no more bamboo, would he be grandfathered in? Or, I mean, would the other guy be grandfathered in with the bamboo, or?
No, you can't grandfather a plant. It's not a structure.
So would you have to remove them?
Well, that's what there was a discussion earlier, is if they're to remove it, how much time do you want to give them to be able to remove it? So you would want to give them sufficient enough time, frankly, because
But they would have to
cost.
remove.
Yeah, if that's the direction that you're going, I would give them time to have it removed.
But bottom line is they have to be removed.
Right.
One way or the other.
Does our code clearly address if you have encroaching plans or like you're ruining your neighbor's pool deck because it's dropping berries on it? Is that something enforceable?
For the encroachment,
That's a nuisance.
we do enforce. But the neighbor could cut it as well, but they don't have to.
Tom's opinion on that.
I don't know the code inside and out, we can take a look at it right now, we were just talking about nuisance provision. Is that 38?
That was 22 was the environmental.
And with the berries and those type of things, like the palm trees, sometimes they're actually still on the original property owner's property. And the birds will get them.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, you can't do that, but, yeah.
It's crazy. For the rats, yeah.
You want to let Tom review that and we can move on?
So you've gone over that earlier tonight, it was under chapter 22, under definition of nuisance. So there is a list of what those would be considered. And then we've got under 2233 prohibited conditions. If it falls under one of those conditions, then that would be another reason that you can find them in violation.
I don't think it's a huge problem. is it? I mean, I think the neighbors probably typically
Work it
take
out.
care of it
Yeah.
themselves. I hope.
Okay, we're only on definitions. Does everybody agree with the definitions, or do we beat the definition up?
I'm back.
I mean, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with the definition?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I would not want to include arenas. I think they're all over the city and they're more like trees. I don't want to consider those okay.
Well, again, it says you can grow them like trees, you just can't grow them close together. You can't make a wall with them. And so now you got a 22-foot wall of mess bearing down on your neighbor. And I think it's perfectly acceptable. Frank?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Are we
I
good?
mean, I have it, we keep ours at 8 feet.
I think Kim, if the word opaque barrier is where is the defining difference. I think what you're thinking, you want to allow, you can pretty much see through most of it, so it's not opaque.
That's what
It's
we're
like,
That's what we're
if
trying
it's
to
gonna be
allow.
opaque, you got to keep it to 8 feet.
So if they're shorter, 6 to 7 feet, growing in
I don't know, what do you think of
little
that?
bunches, you know, that's gonna be a hedge.
Yeah.
If you let 'em
It doesn't matter.
grow larger,
I just
then
think they're-
I'll give you an exception.
All right, where are we at? Mobile homes now?
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, mobile home means any residential unit constructed to the standards promulgated by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And then she changed mobile to motor home because mobile home has its own definition, so it has to be called a motor.
Yep.
Okay, just remove this. I guess it just does not apply, such a space not be less than 280 square feet. So this is off-street parking applies to residential medium districts. So it means an area located outside of the public right of way for parking automobile vehicles. So I don't, I'm not exactly sure what it was even used for, why that was in there.
The automotive, that's,
No, that off-street parking, we're removing such a space shall not be less than 280 square feet.
well, why is it limited to automotive vehicles?
So you can't park boats. I guess, I don't know. Is that trailer parking?
I mean, I would think any vehicle, truck, an RV, well, RVs are not allowed anyway, but I just don't know why it's limited to on-road, if there are other types of vehicles.
Let me try to get some clarification from our planner.
So that's the way it's currently written, has been, right?
Yes, so we're removing the
Right.
250 square feet limitation. And then portable spa, we added to this definition, so portable spa and or therapy pool means any self-contained unit which does not require excavation greater than 12 inches for proper installation and which is not permanently connected to and across the outside water and replaced it with an electrical source and is not a structure as defined by 94 in the code, which is just another definition. So we changed it from an outside water source to an electrical source because with the portable spas, typically they don't need an outside water source, but they would need an electrical source if there's going to be permanent. So good to know, portable spas, if they meet the definition, there is no setback requirement. So a lot of people, they'll have pavement or pavers and they're placing it like in the corner of their lot. It hasn't caused a problem that I'm aware of, but there's been people who place them.
So can we assume that any of these additions that have been placed by Planner Cerna?
Yes.
Put in there by, I mean, we're not really gonna challenge those, right? Can we just-
No, I mean, I'll get more information on this 280 feet. He might have just thought it wasn't necessary, but I don't know exactly the answer. Then they added a definition for satellite antenna, because we updated our communications and satellite at the end of this chapter.
Robert, was
It
you
also
going
includes
to-
the towers.
Sorry, Robert, was you going to highlight that it's not necessarily good for these line by line, what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I'm saying, I mean, we paid the planner, he's pretty knowledgeable, so I would think anything that he just added to ours would be okay to say we're good.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he added definitions where he found that, there's reference, but there was no
Right.
definition, so he made sure it was in there.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a definition for swimming pool and pool, and we added that. Okay, so our other definitions, then we go to 90-6, green yard landscaping requirements for yards abutting public property, or abutting public. This is actually listed twice in chapter 94. I think it was 94-6 and somewhere in the 60s. So we reduced it. There was one small variation between the two, but this is the more comprehensive section. Did add, okay, let's see. So they accepted the move from the planning and zoning. Then we had a duplicate section, and it was, okay. Oh, that was it, for the purpose of determining the plant species to remove, refer to the most current edition. So that was the section that was in the one code that wasn't in the other. So we're gonna make sure that gets moved to 94-6. And then this is another area, so if we want to prohibit bamboo throughout the city, this would be the area we're looking to add the code. And then,
And that was recommended by planning and zoning, right?
yes, and they recommended a grandfather period, well, I guess it would be a buffer period, or a break. So they could-
Well, what do we want to do on this
Yeah.
bamboo?
I'd be in favor of, getting rid of it, or maybe give them a long time to get rid of it.
That's one of the recommendations is consider, as Tom says you can't grandfather a plant, but you can probably say, here's a period of time, effective this date.
Right.
So the notice goes out, you got 6 months to get rid of it or something.
I even need more than that, because I've heard the hassle.
That's hard to get rid of too.
It'll keep coming back.
Yeah, it keeps coming back, so getting rid of it is what, permanently getting rid of it?
And it would be,
Yeah,
It goes deep.
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
Well, what's everyone's thoughts? Frank,
Get rid of it.
Kim?
I don't like to prohibit a particular plant like that. Is there any way to just control it? I mean, people have to not encroach, they have to keep it tidy. Is there any way to deal with it that way?
You just create a provision that limits the height of it.
What about the width of it, like expanding into neighbors' properties? Because like you said, it could really grow.
That's the problem, is it's like a wooden kudzu.
Right.
It really spreads fast.
Yeah, and the underground rooting penetrates pools.
that's it.
Oh,
Really?
And
Wow.
it sheds a lot of leaves.
And
There's a
sidewalks.
lot of-
the leaves are one thing, but
Yeah.
the roots will go right through the concrete.
Mhm.
Anders?
Yeah, but yes, I was in favor of getting rid of it.
Jody?
My record.
So you have lots of things you put it in, right?
No, I have a neighbor that has it. I do not, they suggested it for my house, and I said, absolutely not, do not. I don't want it anywhere near my house for all the reasons you guys are discussing. I would say we probably shouldn't allow it.
Is it considered officially an invasive plant in the state
A
of
lot of
Florida?
states have
It's-
invasive plant.
It's not on the list of
Florida,
noxious
Florida,
species.
Florida, a lot of states.
Oh, it's not on the list?
It's not on that list, but it is banned a lot of places up north. Just not as popular that I know of down here.
If you want to go to an undeveloped piece of property in Florida, you'll find plenty of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it grows like crazy.
Yeah, especially down here. It grows 12 months a year.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah,
it's a
so
low
I'm in
border.
favor of no, not
Okay.
having it, not allowing it.
That's a no for me also. All right, so add that.
And then a time period?
I mean, minimum 6 months, but I don't know. I don't know how you go much past that.
So Tom, you were saying that the biggest issue on the timing is because of cost issues. Somebody that can't do it themselves would have to pay somebody, and I don't know,
Yeah.
the cost. It may be
Oh.
expensive.
Give them a year.
I'd be in favor of that, give them a year.
That's a good job.
Burn.
Alright. Okay. He added roadway intersection visibility standards, but that's later in the chapter, so there was some additional language. Okay, this is, we had something mentioning about, in one section of the code, it wasn't in this area, about the growth over a sidewalk, but we did not actually have vertical clearance over the public roadway. So this is to get an ordinance that says we want a 15-foot minimum vertical clearance above the public roadway. We don't have anything. And it keeps the 8-foot clearance over a public sidewalk.
Say usually to the fire department, through to tell us to cut back trees.
So it can come over the roadway, but it has to be a minimum of
15.
15 feet,
Yeah.
8 feet or something. 8 feet on the sidewalks, and 15 on the road.
15 on the road.
Okay, good. That makes
And then,
sense.
the sidewalks are only limited because we only have so many.
Okay.
Now, I do notice, because I use the sidewalks a lot, there are a lot of bushes that grow over the sidewalks. And I know the sheriff's not gonna see that, but that's probably something we need to keep a closer eye on.
Yeah, we can enforce that like on Gulf Boulevard. Yeah, we can enforce.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're finally getting all changed out.
Marathon runners, I guess it's past weekend,
Yeah.
they kicked me off the sidewalk and I was just doing my morning walk. There was a lot of them messing with me.
Did you race them?
So I got out of the way.
It took the road up and the sidewalk.
That was you?
Okay. So this one is about the mulch. So limits on the installation in right-of-ways, organic non-floating mulch may be used in permeable areas of the right-of-way, keep moisture in the soil, and while other forms of approved ground cover plant material are maturing, and then mulch is prohibited within 4 feet of the curb or edge of road if there is no curb. Mulch in the right-of-way must be contained within borders sufficient to prevent movement of mulch into the roadway by irrigation or rainwater. Mulch composed of organic or inorganic floating materials are prohibited in the right-of-way.
Okay, is pine bark considered mulch?
Yeah, I think.
They put pine bark in the whole neighborhood.
So we have defined mulch.
Yeah,
Everyone that had pine bark, it was just.
Floating away.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
Pine bark, it was
I want to make
everywhere.
sure that if we're putting this in here, that pine bark is mulch. Because if it's not, then we need to call out pine bark, because that stuff that just about killed our community. Every train in the entire community was clogged and stopped up with pine bark.
Yeah. So this is to keep.
I would have thought-
Do we need to include the phrase by irrigation or rainwater, just end it, movement into the roadway? That would include wind, somebody kicking it, that would include anything.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this, if it's pine bark and it's 4 feet from the street, and we have torrential downpours, or one drain stops up, all the pine bark in the entire yard is going to wind up in the street, in the gutters, and clog the whole storm system.
I had a neighbor, it was up to their front door, just covered.
My next door neighbor,
Yeah.
every bit of their entire
Yeah, I
yard
mean,
was
it was
completely,
the front
Talking
door.
about the big
yeah,
one
big,
stuff.
big pine bark.
I think that's a good idea to include something, defining that, but I think it's any movement into the roadway, regardless of the cost.
And then this is saying 4 feet, so no mulch, 4 feet from the edge of roadway. And then you can have it, but it needs
Most
to
of the
be
grass catches it or something.
contained
Yeah.
in the other areas.
Chat GPT says it is mulch.
It is a mulch.
Well, it says-
Maybe just define if we have
I would
to.
say mulch. Yes, this means pine bark.
Just in case you're wondering.
Okay.
I mean, I'm okay with the way it's written.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now, this is under artificial turf, synthetic grass. Now, there's gonna have to be more changes to this. We did get the most recent, I don't think it was official, but guidelines that they were working on. And there was some areas that allowed us to increase our own restrictions, or they gave us room as far as like color and, I made some notes actually here. But I guess we want to wait until it's final so that,
I've been thinking about this. The way I think it should be written is that we follow state statute, and then whatever leniency we have beyond state statute, if we have any rights whatsoever, well, then we should be able to adjust it per our own ordinance or resolution, because the statute may change, and then we're constantly having to change our ordinance, where if we do it by resolution, well, there it is. And until they actually nail it down and make it permanent.
Yeah, because they've changed it again, right?
Yeah.
So-
What's your thoughts, Tom?
Well, this is the first time that they've addressed it, so I'm not so sure it's going to happen often. And it is in the Florida Administrative Code, it's not actually in a statute. But I understand that we could change this to reflect that, the city follow what is in the Florida Administrative Code. But the problem with that is now when someone reads your code, they won't know what the law is. Now you're sending them off to something else to review to see whether or not that they're in compliance. If it's in your code, they can read it on Unicode, know exactly what it is.
But so far, it's not permanent, but their version of code is not.
In another 20 or 21 days, I think that we'll know that it's going to be permanent.
I would recommend kicking this one letter K down the road until we get an answer, and then we'll know what to do with it.
Okay. Yep.
Everybody go with that?
Do we currently have something, right?
Yeah, we have a whole.
Paragraph.
Right.
And
Okay.
Okay.
I agree with it.
So I just highlighted this. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Were you talking about this or something?
Yeah, yeah, I was
Okay.
going to say, I'm aligned with having the state objections from the party, so.
Okay, so this was brought up in our planning and zoning, and they recommended, that if the Board of Adjustment approves a variance, that it needs to be also approved by City Council.
I would recommend against this.
Me too.
Yeah, you did
You
it.
don't need two quasi-judicial hearings to review the same application.
And what's the point of having a board of adjustments if we ultimately make the final decision?
Right.
I would say no. And plus, it gives us an impartial group that is not conducting business.
Okay, and then the other was, they recommended that the applicant must request statements of no objection from the property owners who are directly affected from the variance approval.
I thought that was already in place.
It is
It's
not.
It is not, and I don't have a problem with it because of the fact that you can have a neighbor that just doesn't like you and will object to everything whenever you may be going to the board asking for something completely reasonable. So I would say, I don't want that either. I don't know how everyone else feels, but
Agree.
I'm very vocal about that.
They shouldn't have a veto over what you're doing with your property when you're going through a board to request that change.
Right.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean that the board can't take that into consideration, but that's their prerogative.
He added one of the criteria to the variance approval, and that is, does not increase the maximum density. And then we also added, because we did have such a variance is not in conflict with the City of Bellevue strategic plan, we added a comprehensive plan.
Fine with that.
Yeah.
So we went consistent with that.
Yep. That's straight through.
Good.
Here's the 9469 where it was double. Okay, Division 3 Local Planning Agency. This whole section was added, and it came from our comprehensive plan. Okay, so you remove this, and this is at, so I'm under 94-101 continuation, all the way down to 7, so section 7 replacement, and then moving down, we remove A3. Where existing dwelling units are located in the coastal high hazard area, zone B, and are required to be the lowest habitable floor at an elevation greater than that is previously existed. Such units as endo structures may exceed the maximum height requirement of the zoning district by an amount not to exceed a positive difference between the required first floor elevation and the first floor elevation that previously existed. He removed this, I think, because it just wasn't needed. The way we redefined, and you move down to our height codes in residential medium, residential low, and I believe that the requirement of building your garage above the crown of the road 24 inches, and where we amended that is taking care of this. But I just want to get some more. I think it was just in there and he removed it because it didn't apply anymore, but I want to get some more clarification because for my purposes, let's see, that's 95. This, oh, okay. Oh, that's why, okay. P and Z exhibit. So FDM recommended that. She must have removed it. That's what I meant, the note. Same thing here. This was flood code related, all repair and reconstructions, and it refers back to chapter 74.
Today, the French Pond
Okay. So this is uses, and this is residential medium, District 1, and that is our multifamily use zoning district that consists of 1,900 up to 3,500 Gulf Boulevard. And the uses are set where they have a density, a maximum floor area ratio, and an ISR, impervious surface ratio. And the Planning and Zoning Board wanted a summary report on local municipalities and what their residential medium in comparison, has for density for impervious and floor area ratio. And then based on that, they made a recommendation to increase the density and to increase the floor area ratio and the ISR for residential medium properties. I can provide, I don't have it handy right now, but there was, I have a listing of local municipalities that they compare to that I can provide to you so you can see where they got those comparison numbers from. But that was their recommendation.
Do we have any properties that meet that size, that meet the RM medium, residential medium?
So residential
that aren't built out?
So the way the uses and the density, floor area ratio, and impervious surface is currently, most of these condominium properties would not be able to be rebuilt the way they are.
Okay.
Because they're higher.
Okay.
So it's just 15 family units per acre is a pretty low density for those areas.
So, I can think of at least one property that hasn't been fixed from the storm.
Mhm.
If that was rebuilt, how would this apply to that?
So they asked what they can do as far as within what the code is now, and I gave them, they can have 15 units per acre, 0.5 FAR. I just told them what the
It
current code
says
is.
15 to 30 units per acre.
So they want to increase it from 15
Yeah, that's
to
what it should go to.
230.
That's
So,
what
but
it
right
should
now for that property, they've been told what it currently says for residential.
So I'll have to,
So what I'm hearing is that it would be higher?
So yeah, this would be to increase the density allowed on those properties.
So we're doubling the height, is what I'm hearing, of properties along the beach. Is that,
oh, we still have the height restriction.
I have the height in a different
We're
code.
still at the 35 foot, is that right? Or what?
No, but this is only for use. This is use, floor area ratio and impervious surface ratio. The height is in a different section of this code.
okay, well, I'm just trying to figure out how you're jamming twice as many apartments or condos or townhomes into an acre.
I'll just say, the one that I'm speaking of, the entire place was 8 feet underwater. So the whole thing has to be scraped and elevated. So then if you make it 2-story, like it is now, you're saying it wouldn't meet the standards that we have today, right?
The 15
They
units
wouldn't
per
be
acre.
able to build back because they have more density than that.
Yeah,
It was the same situation with the motel.
it's one of those like that.
Unless you tore the whole thing down and the footprints were smaller. Instead of having I don't know, pick a number, 1,500 square foot unit, and you change it to 750 square feet.
Can I ask who made the recommendation?
Chair Prescott.
Okay.
So, do you want me to bring back the listings that our planner provided so you can compare the communities that the
Yeah.
planning and zoning?
Yeah.
Okay.
So are those apartments not restrained to the height limit?
I think they are, but.
So they're restrained by the height limit, and then the only way you can get that density is you're just gonna have to make every apartment narrower, right? Smaller, that's the only way you can get there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, I'm trying to figure that out.
Right.
I gotta do some research.
Well, there was, okay, so increasing the density per acre, and then I saw that we were doing something. We were doing away, or we were reducing the size of parking spaces or something like that. There's something going on, but on that side. And,
Okay, all right.
Try to pull up the comparison. There we go. It's preliminary. It's not the final.
Jody, you'll have to share with the rest of us, otherwise it's a private
It's a
conversation.
nautical watch is the one I was thinking of, that would be, only because it's right across the street from me, and it has nothing to be touched. And so I'm just kind of using that as a, for instance, how big is this property? How, if this was applied, what would that look like?
And they're still paying their HOA monthly fees.
It's for people, I know.
So here's the listing of all ours currently.
Township.
And they- but,
Okay.
You can see they got higher densities than what's allowed currently.
Oh, so we've already been allowing
Very
it.
little.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't be able to be rebuilt
I see.
at what they currently is.
They can't rebuild what they currently have.
Yeah.
But they have to get it above, if they did rebuild, they'd have to build it above the floodplain.
Right.
so where does that stand right now? Is it just,
The first floor will be parking
that
garage.
you're gonna tear it down?
The technically they're not substantially damaged.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't
They want to
understand.
repair, they want.
So what's the one with the highest density? That's Bel Air Beach condo?
Bel Air Sands is 35,
You know, there's sands.
Bel Air Sand,
3G.
Those 3G, 32.
3G.
Close
There's
to
a
those.
31 there.
Can you
33.
send that to all of us?
Yes. Yeah, I'll forward that.
It just seems like a big jump from 30 to 50.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send this to you, for everyone to review and look at, bring back. And then, so yeah, this is the recommendation that came
I'm
from.
sorry, it is 30, that's right.
Planner Cerner. So, he didn't go quite as high. Go back. Is it-
I would say that.
Yeah, you didn't go quite as high.
I don't know why I got 50 stuck in my head, but 30, considering what everyone else is already at, I guess that's probably acceptable. I'm just mainly trying to understand what it was we
Okay,
were discussing.
so I'll send this to everyone to review. And then we'll come back. And then we eliminated the FAR from the residential law. That was a previous ordinance we passed. Okay, here's the, where they want to recommend the height from going from 35 above the BFE plus 1 to 50. That's a big jump.
For residential?
For residential medium, so the condominium, multifamily.
So what that means is all those people that have spent money raising their homes up eventually won't be able to see the beach.
Yeah.
If you have parking under, and then 3 stories, typically we're allowed 3 stories up there, right?
Do we have any idea again what the motivation was by planning and zoning to go from 35 to 50?
It speaks for itself. There's your density, and now you've got your height. It's just redevelop.
I think it's to open up more options for building if somebody redevelops those properties, get resold.
So what were you saying, Dave, like people that live across the street?
Yeah, I'm just saying, there's already some monsters on our side, over here on the home side, and they were built to a limit. They went up to that limit, and they go up there, and they can see the beach, and they can see the intercoastal, but if we change this, eventually, no one will see the beach.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a good incentive to knock down everything for developers and do it again.
But there's only 2 or 3 properties that could potentially be knocked down out there. They need to be knocked down too.
Yeah.
I'll just say that
Well, yeah,
they need to be knocked down. It's a mess out there. And it cleans up the neighborhood.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you guys think if you stayed with the 35, or was it 35 now, right?
Yeah, so
There's not going to be enough developer in redevelopment.
yeah, I see where they're going, because they would be able to use the bottom story for parking, and then they would have their 2 or 3, I guess 3 stories above that. It'd be a 4-story building. But again, I'm just, this is a gateway to what our neighbors are doing up the street. You know, eventually, it just keeps getting higher and higher.
Come back to this with the uses.
What's that?
Do you want to come back to this with the density and the, because it's
Yeah.
all residential, medium. residential, medium.
What does everybody else think about the 50 feet?
How many people are affected by this? You think it's just the houses that are on Gulf Boulevard that are trying to look over the beach?
Yes. Right?
Or there
When you
it's
say it'd be the ones
houses further back.
directly across the street, that
Right.
would be mostly
It's not like
impacted.
in the neighborhood, I guess everyone in the future could try to build, be upset, but at least they know what they're getting then, I guess, get their house or their I don't know, what do you think, is it like 5, 10 houses?
I mean, we've had some newer ones been built up on Gulf Boulevard. And I think they built them to have some sort of view, yeah.
Yeah, and now they won't possibly.
But I guess if you,
No, but it affects those houses.
I mean, I guess where I was going with it, is it worth asking, you know, and the trade-off is that they get to look at the horrendous buildings that are there currently. There's gonna be some redevelopment, which will make them nice, but yet they're gonna have to be a little bit taller. Would you know?
I
fight
think
us on this?
I think it goes hand in hand with the density, with the density question. But I think, I mean, if we figure out the densities side of things, I'm okay with this. If we think the density is okay, then I'm okay with this 50 foot. That's my opinion. Because I think we do, it looks horrible along Gulf Boulevard. And as long as we have a couple of those facilities that rent to the clientele they rent to, we're gonna have a lot of, the beaches are ridiculous behind those buildings. There's just a lot of problems with those. There's a couple of, I always say it, they're motels. We say they're not, that we don't allow short-term rentals and we don't have any commercial property. Well, that is the closest thing we have to commercial property and it's a problem. And if we allow it to be cleaned up, then it maybe won't be such a problem.
And that's what I'm saying, I agree, I'm encouraging it to be redeveloped. And you're thinking, no way it's gonna be unless we let it go to 50.
Yes. Yeah, no one's gonna put that kind of money into it unless they
And I was
create
thinking
density.
those residents that are across the street, they're probably looking at that, thinking it's an eyesore.
There is one
They might
resident
wanna-
who's complained quite a bit about one of the properties.
You know, they would be,
generally, most people complain about the ones that don't look.
right, so maybe generally they'd be okay with going 50, because it's only those houses that are, I don't know, maybe, but if one rejects, I guess what do we do, I guess.
Or would that, if it's too restricted, would that property be developed as residential? I mean, single family, they just put homes there.
No one's gonna pay the price they need to pay to put one home
It's
there.
not feasible. The property
But I mean,
worth too much.
Could be 3 lots or something, divide, take that property and divide it up.
I'm thinking if
It's not zoned for that.
your residential low on the east side are built to BFE plus 135, and then even if the condominiums were built to BFE plus 35, you're not allowed to have like an observation deck on top of your house. So like the highest deck you could
That's a
have
good
is your
point.
top floor. You already can't see
Yeah,
if somebody
that's the other
was
thing.
to build to
They're
that.
gonna need the pool on the roof probably because they're gonna use up all the land probably in the process of rebuilding.
So you're saying their view's obstructed at this point?
I'm just
Could
saying
be-
right
it could be
now,
that-
if
okay,
those
that's
were
fair enough.
redeveloped to 35 on top of
No
it,
matter what it is, right? Yeah, I think we sort out we answer the other question and then we tackle this one.
okay.
I,
Well, I'd like, I think it's only fair to ask the guy who's proposing this, what's the outcome? What are you trying to accomplish? And if you could get that information,
Okay.
maybe in writing or an email or something,
Yeah.
and distribute it to all of us. So we know exactly what we're committing to, because this is possibly changes the face of our beach.
does he have a vested interest?
Is this coming from a developer?
No, this is our planning and
It's
zoning.
a resident wanting to do this, wanting to go to the 50. Okay.
Okay, so then, yeah, we replaced condominiums to multifamily throughout.
Can't say condo anymore.
So here is, we added the lowest floor elevation for the residential medium, so that it's based off of the crown of the road. It'll be off of Gulf Boulevard. And then he just adjusted the other elevations for the covered parking and pool equipment. And then, let's see, so okay, so there's some parcels, let's see. Long Gulf Boulevard. Okay, so you did a higher amount of inches for Gulf Boulevard structures, and I should say this is for residential medium, which I don't think we need to specify now that I look at it closer. But the idea, we did this in residential low as well. The Gulf Boulevard lots need to be higher because Gulf Boulevard is so high. So what we're finding is that they're not having enough, if they don't raise their garage and their pools to 24 inches, they're not having enough to drain forward to Gulf Boulevard. And then all the houses that sit behind those lots, like Hibiscus, are sitting a lot lower. So it makes it tricky to develop those lots off of Gulf Boulevard.
Right.
And we've got pools in here again as,
And then the pools, so in
not
the,
exceed 18 inches above the ground of the road.
it says 18 inches for residential medium. And then in the pool section, we raised that to 24 inches from 18 above the crown of the road. But
I
we're,
can tell you, I think mine is more than 24 inches, and I was probably the only pool that didn't flood during the hurricane. So I still don't, it makes no sense to me why we have that. Especially if we're allowing these houses to be built so high. Why are we keeping the pool so low?
I guess to not displace as much water is the idea.
I mean, you got the pool decks there and the pool decks there. It doesn't matter what elevation it's at.
But if you have a high pool deck built off the back of your house, I don't know. I mean, I guess,
I've got a complaint that they're changing all this and they have to get a variance and all like that. I think it's ridiculous.
I mean, you know, and I look at my house compared to like the neighbors, versus they come out of their house and they're walking down 6 stairs to their pool. I walk down a couple of steps and my pool's right there. And then it gradually walks down to, then there's more steps to the dock. But, I mean, there's something in between seeing a 6-foot wall from the, dock side or from, I know there's a couple of houses interior that have that real high wall and the pool's up high. But there's something in between that and 18 inches above the road, crown of the road. I don't see the correlation to that at all. And it keeps coming up, and I thought we eliminated it, and then it came back again.
never eliminated it. And I think they did it because people were building up their yards and others felt like they were
Well, and then I'll go back to,
looking down on them.
why aren't we doing, that was site plan review. That we weren't reviewing the site plan, we were letting them build whatever they wanted. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that was
before
early,
you.
that was
I'm
like
just saying
2008 they put that in.
Yeah, that was before you, but that's what kicked this in. So I think, I'm just not in favor of the way that's written. I think pools need to be taken out of there, or there needs to be something, that allows, a site plan review to have to get a variance or to even, it doesn't seem like, no one can answer what's the purpose of that.
So explain to me, let me see if I'm hearing you correctly, is that the home was built up and the pool was built up, and that's too much, where they're both almost equal. And then,
I think it's only on the interior houses that we have this happen, but there's a couple of interior houses that it,
and then,
Yeah, interior houses that have the issue that need the variance.
okay, and then
Because they're so low.
the code though that we're presenting is that it can't be any more than 18 inches above the crown of the road. So some houses are having to step down to get to, and this is a problem because, what?
well, for me, it was a problem. I know there are a few people on my road that just went ahead and built it the way the code says, because they didn't want to go through the variance. And then I know that, like, I know this has happened on a couple of streets where they put the pool lower. If I'm trying to, I remember Mike just went for a variance on one on 24th, I think it was. If I'm thinking that right.
20.
No, 18th.
Okay. Yes, 18th. It
And
was
what
very
was the
low.
situation there? He
That
had to get a variance.
That was the situation. He had to put his pool higher because everything's
because
set
the-
down low. Like his pool was.
Oh, because that. it was
Everything
in
would've drained right in his
cul-de-sac.
pool.
It was in a
Draining in his pool.
cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
And then the house was, just the nature of that landscape there. The house was a little higher than the cul-de-sac. And then if they built the pool 18 inches, everything would have just flooded into the pool. So it doesn't work in every situation.
Right, well, what we're trying to accomplish is accommodate the community and at the same time not create a massive burden on Board of Adjustments. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think that, yeah.
And so what's the real problem right now with the way that this is written so that I totally
18
understand?
inches above the crown of the road. He's saying in some areas they allow it 24 inches. I mean, some.
That's the
So
Gulf Boulevard frontage.
We're on residential medium right now, but we're going to get into residential low, where it does say 18 inches. But we're increasing that to 24 for residential low.
Throughout the city.
Yes. So, because if we go from 18 to 24, I think like 5 of the 6 variances we have will be taken care of. They're all.
Sitting out there right now.
No, that were just in the past.
Okay.
The Board of Adjustment was just getting tired of hearing the same variance.
Okay, so what you're saying is G is actually not the way that you wanted to read. You want this changed to where it's 24 throughout the city?
On-
It should be 36, but that's just.
For residential medium, I'm not concerned. I think 18 inches is fine.
Where is that?
We didn't have any issues with this. I just wanted to be consistent so that it lined up properly as far as the height code and redevelopment, if they were to rebuild it.
And you wanted 36?
Because that will eliminate, and you won't have any variances. If someone wants it higher than that, then that's,
And this is 36 citywide?
citywide.
So what would be the pushback on that? Is there a structural reason or?
That's from other people.
That's what your question earlier, I think, was, why can't it be higher?
Right.
What problem would it generate? Pools
As
are
long as
higher.
it drains properly, I don't think there is.
And we have seen some situations where they didn't drain properly.
But whether your deck is
Well, if
lower
you're-
or higher.
If you're the lower pool,
Yeah.
next to the higher pool, that's where I believe there's been some issues. It's the ones that built to the old code, somebody to the new code builds one, and now you've created a problem for your neighbor. So they probably, if you're going to build higher than your neighbor, you should be responsible for the runoff also.
Again, our site plan
Right.
review should address.
No, and we do make sure
Yeah.
that the drainage
Or
either.
at least like 32 inches, because I mean, at 36, you have to have a railing around it, okay? So
Yeah.
32 inches.
Well, I would say that even if the site plan is approved, ultimately the neighbor building the higher pool is responsible if there's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
And so that needs to be included in the code if we do 36 inches.
But we do have a section of the code that says you just can't, your water can't run off on your neighbor's property, so that's covered.
When you're talking about the water from the pool overflowing?
No, just run off
from
from
the deck
rain.
and everything.
So any water that, falls on to one lot has to drain, if it's a landlocked lot, it has to drain to the road without going over property, and then if it's on the water, it can be drained either way.
Anders?
How does that affect like fences then? So if there's, okay.
It's
It
a
makes it
problem.
very difficult.
Yeah, it does.
I'm battling with it.
There's a gentleman in town that, he's had a lot of problems because a highland was here and suddenly he no longer has a view.
Right, so it has to be, it's not 36 feet above the pool, like,
Inches.
or 36
It
inches.
is not. For
above
the
pool,
fence,
like, it's
no, it's very specific. Like
The fence needs to be back down at the lower level, which basically,
Yeah,
you
and
get
usually the
36
grade
feet of fence.
on the
It'd be
edge.
like same height as the fence.
Yeah, so it has to be measured down to grade on like a perimeter fence, and usually that grade is lower because it falls down to your lower neighbor.
Right.
Um,
It's down. Yeah, okay.
So
Alright.
that's a thing, gotta be very specific. And then if they do elevate, it raises their pool deck, so if they put certain fence on that deck, it also within that 12-foot space of the inside edge of the seawall, you're violating that code,
Right.
you
So those codes would force them to change, I guess, right?
Well, it just makes it very, if you build up in the back, you have a very high pool deck, and then you taper down on the sides and your neighbor has a low yard, it makes it a little awkward if you're trying to put anything up on that pool level height, because then it
Yeah.
violates the fence code.
Yeah.
So it can change. It's interesting because we do have on the fence code a subsection that says that if you have a retaining wall, so if you have like your seawall and then someone builds a retaining wall and put their pipe, you have to include the height of the retaining wall, since it's measured from the height of the seawall.
Right.
So you have to, so you got an elevated deck, you gotta subtract out, so if you wanna put a fence on that elevated deck, it can only be 4 feet above the seawall cap, and not the level of the deck. So it just gets weird.
Okay, I can handle 36 inches. I'm still on the fence about the 50 feet, so what does everybody else feel about it?
And I would say I compromise at 32. I mean, I think something just
So 32 or 36?
32.
32? 32?
Do you feel that for the residential medium too?
I mean,
I think it simplifies the code if you
Yeah,
just
doesn't
make it all the same.
Okay.
Kim?
I'm fine with it.
What is residential medium?
That's the condominium, multi-family properties on Gulf Boulevard.
what you get.
Let's see, if we, so if you build your pool that high, it won't compromise, the garage floor. It should be okay. Right, if the pool deck's built, it won't affect the drainage from the garage floor.
And now since they're, why would they pull up into the, I mean, there's a house.
As long as you got it high enough
There's a house
that you can
between the
run
pool
off.
and the garage, right?
Well, I mean, if you build it high enough and water does overflow, it could very well go the wrong direction, but I
We're-
think that's on you, you know?
If you're an idiot, you don't hire an engineer to take care of those things. I mean,
Right.
I hate to say it that way, but I mean, there's some responsibility. This is, anyway.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
32,
So we're on to 32.
good? Everybody good? Okay, so before it gets 9 o'clock, I'm going to recommend that we pause at Division 3, RL District 2, and then we will have another meeting. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay.
And where was that?
Page 20, it's up at page 28.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what we got left.
I think Tom's going into overtime, so make sure we can still afford it. All right, what's next?
Okay, let's see, 90. Let's We're at 94, 169 parking. And this is still residential medium. Multifamily changed, and then added for the off-street parking with asphalt or constructed of concrete, paper bricks. Still allows the use of the GeoWeb or turf block. Changed multifamily again.
So is that consistent with what we decided for the single family on A3 parking?
Which number on?
94, 169, A3.
Okay.
All that I think still has to do
It
with.
just specified paved with, so we just added paved with asphalt, or constructed concrete or paper bricks instead of sand paved. Just a little more specific.
And all they did was just reworded condominium multi-family.
Right.
Right. Yep.
Units and complex.
And then it looks like we pulled out this parking. I'm gonna get some clarification on this. These areas shall be considered part of an area specified as off-street parking. However, 180 square feet of parking space contained within 90 foot of the 20-foot parking area specified in subsection B4. This section shall be considered as a portion of the 280 square feet. So it's back to that. I will get some more clarification on what that was for. And then we added here, there is a exception to allow compressor units. We also added other equipment such as pool pumps, filters, and standby generators.
So you can't elevate that equipment, you want overriding that, which is 20, which would be the 32.
Sorry, say it?
You're talking about like pool pumps here, this will allow them to be higher if they want?
It just says that all these equipment can be placed where desired, including the roof, which shall not be.
Right. Whereas the previous pool one said pool equipment.
So the previous one only said compressor unit. But we added the other common.
Right, no, but I mean, when we were discussing the pool thing,
Back on G.
it said pool equipment was limited at the 18 or 24 inches.
Oh.
And so this is, I'm assuming this one's gonna win the rule, the pool equipment. And I agree with it, I think the filters and
Yeah,
pumps and
so
stuff
these
like
can
that
be higher,
should be able
this
to
will
be
be
higher
lower.
than
Got it.
whatever's in that 18, 22, 32 inch one.
And that's 94,
Yeah.
168 G.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everybody tired?
Yes.
Want to go home?
3 hours.
Appreciate everyone's time.
Just one thing,
Yes, sir.
two residents asked me at the dog park today, and they want to know, when we think about pickleball, if we can change our courts, that they can actually put pickleball nets up. You can get 4 pickleball courts instead of the 2 that we have.
Instead of the 2 that
I
are
have
marked
no
off.
idea what I said I would bring it up at a work
I'll
session.
tell you why. It's because it is unbelievably, wildly popular everywhere.
I don't play.
I cannot believe it. You can't even get on a court anywhere.
I see you playing here Saturday night, which is a good roller skate in there. So, I mean, sometimes it's loaded,
I was wondering
sometimes
when
it's
the
not.
battle was going to start, would it be tennis players?
I've got complaints that people say I can't get on. But we took state money for that, so it's first come, first served.
It needs to be redone. So whatever it is, it needs to be redone.
I just promised I'd bring it up, that's all I
It
want
needs
to
to be
say.
rebuilt. The foundations. Real quick, the two things I just wanted to run by council to see if it's some direction we want to go into. Park and Recreation Board is looking into developing a vegan sponsorship program similar to Largo, what they do with the wooden signs. They're open to suggestions from council. They could open it up to, Largo does all local business, but we could do something where we only limit it to people who live in Bel Air Beach. But we just wanted to throw the idea out to see if the council was on board with that before we started developing.
I think we should, and I don't think we should limit it to residents. I think we should open it up. If we've got a vendor that wants to supply plants that's nearby, let them supply them and give us a sign.
Yeah, we get that.
Put the sign up. And then Bel Air Beach Community Foundation is also looking to do commercial sponsorship banners for the purpose of raising money for the city. These would be more expensive, but the idea would be fundraising for things that are needed by the city, a larger piece of equipment or something more substantial. So they're proposing doing a program over the summer to sell commercial advertisement. This was also proposed for residents only. And then this might be different because they're looking at doing up to 40, so it'd be like a just listing of the business or whatever in Bel Air Beach, and it would stay up for a period of time, but we could limit it to only if you are a business owner that lives in Bel Air Beach, then you can get it.
What is
If we
it
don't
that
want
they're trying to, what are they selling?
They're selling similar to the Christmas banners, but it would be for business, commercial business advertisement, and it would start in roughly May when we do our flags for Memorial Day, and then usually what happens is they'll stay up until we get like our first event or something that they have to come down for. So we would build it similar. We would, it would guarantee probably the months of June, July, because we rarely ever get a storm, and they could get all the way through August. But we would be aiming for like 3-month program, but with the stipulation that if we get a hurricane threat, we're not going to pull them down, put them back up.
I think that if a resident was going to donate, they would donate, right? I think that, again, I'll just say, if you're going to do something for business, it should be open to businesses that we all use, because if we were likely to donate, we're going to donate anyway. We don't necessarily need a banner. Maybe open it to residents first, but then if they're not selling them, then go to the public.
Yeah, I will say that there was a lot of pride going on with the Christmas banners.
Yes.
And you had no problems whatsoever selling those things.
And they look good. I mean,
Yeah, they look
families
great,
and that
and I would say that just because we pride ourselves on not hosting businesses, that I would prefer to at least try to let the community do it, and if they weren't able to sustain it, then open it up to businesses. But I would say, please allow the community to have first dibs. And then if there's gaps, well then, maybe fill them in or maybe not, I don't know.
we had a couple businesses that did the Christmas banners.
Did they? Well, it wasn't an advertisement.
No, but
Yeah.
it looked good. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that's not something substantial.
And they were like right at the end of the causeway, not at anybody's street or anyway. I think it was done very good.
I think first all my grandchildren were out walking and say, hey, look at that. I said, Papa, is that your name there? Yeah. On the street.
Betcha.
Do you have anything else?
Done, that's all.
All right, everyone, let's go home.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Screen there, breeze
I'm gonna try to do this more often for us, because yeah, it is too hard.